Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the ZymCast. My name is Chase Batherley,
I'm Kyle Grubb.
and as always, we are joining our producer Cheyenne.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hey Kyle,
Hey, Chase.
how was your week?
It's been a week, my friend.
Yeah, I can see that on your face.
Thank you. So, I've been on a journey of downward spiraling health.
Journey's a good band.
I mean, I've stopped believing at this point.
No.
No. Okay. So when last week I talked about how my back hurt,
Yeah.
things have changed since then, but not for the better. So my back started getting better. And then I went to work and well, let's just say that I started getting sick,
Sick.
or so I thought.
Okay.
Because I had my throat was hurting, swallowing was not fun. And towards the end of my shift, I started kind of quasi losing my voice. I woke up the next day, voice completely gone. Had no voice at all. I'm like, how did this happen so fast? But it actually sounded more like yeah. So I went into work the next day and they were everyone made fun of me the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sounded like a demon. Trying to run a kitchen without a voice is not an easy thing to do.
Oh, especially in that kitchen.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so somebody else switched off with me for Expo, and I was just running around. And anytime I needed to make a call over the radio, they're like, "Just please stop, because you're scaring us." Yeah. So that was fun, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." Luckily, I had the next day off, and then I came into work I think on Wednesday, and well, prior to coming into work, I may have fallen right on my back,
Oh my god.
thus re-hurting my back, just as my voice came back. So I kind of had my voice, and I also couldn't really walk anymore again.
Oh man.
I powered through that shift. A lot of pain. Had another day off, used it to recover. And then I got pink eye. Because why not, right? Every time I get on the other end of something new comes.
Yep.
So it has been a fucking week, man.
Yeah, that's a fun time.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm hoping that my body has decided, look, we're gonna get all the injuries and illnesses out of the way all at once, and then you'll just be fine for a really long time.
It's so funny looking into your eyes because one is squinted and pink and the other one's totally fine. And you're just looking at me like, huh?
Huh?
Yeah, I can kind of relate just because for the past few days I've had this sore throat that whenever I have a sore throat like this, I can feel it. It usually leads to sickness. The next day when I wake up, I'm down for the count. But I haven't gotten to that point. And in the morning, I'm pretty sure it's been gone, and then towards the night it'll come back. So I just have to take some NyQuil before I go to bed, and then it will resolve itself and then come back. And I'm like, what is wrong with my throat?
Yep, those are totally comparable things that we're going through.
I just feel I will fall ill soon.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's my impending doom. I was I'm trying to get through.
You're running on borrowed time until you can get through Avengers.
I was trying to get through this week. I'm like, I can't be sick right now.
Yeah,
that's the
I
worst.
couldn't afford to be either, but I am.
Yeah.
Okay, just so everybody knows, we are recording on the Sunday after Avengers came out.
Correct.
So
April 28th.
that would be the date.
Oh yeah, that is today.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
today.
So we're most of the way through this. It has been a ride.
Yes. We'll get to that at the end of the show.
Yeah, at the end of the show.
Yeah.
We will be talking about Endgame, obviously.
And we will be spoiling it.
We will be spoiling it.
Later
There will be a small section though in the beginning where there will not be spoilers. If anybody's just curious about our opinion of the movie.
Yeah. And then we'll dive into the ramifications and the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, because it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoilers.
Yeah, it's really
It's gonna be like, what did you do?
all you're gonna be is it's gonna be opinions of your overall how you felt about the movie.
And talking
then
about the first 10 minutes.
the first 30 minutes was written in the trailers.
Yeah.
That was it. But on a different topic, have you ever had someone that you knew or that you were friends with, maybe in high school or at another time, and you've seen them, you're proud of their accomplishments?
No, I'm just
Yeah.
jealous of people.
Yeah.
No, not particular.
Yeah,
I mean, I have people that have gone on and done some things, but like, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there might have been other, like some people, or I mean, maybe like I don't think I've ever felt a certain way, but so that some news came out the other day that one of my friends from high school, well, I say friends loosely, but
You knew him.
I
You were friendly.
I was acquaintance with him, I guess. I sat next to him in my psych class, and I helped him study, or we helped each other study, I should say.
So you're why he's here today.
He actually just got drafted to the LA Rams.
Whoa!
Yeah, David Long, class of 2016.
That's awesome.
High.
God, I forget how young you are.
Yeah. Very young.
And just another thing to add on top of Kyle's illnesses, Chase.
What, beating him down like an old man?
Yeah.
God,
being
you're
an old
such a
man?
little boy.
Yeah. Yeah, he got drafted to the Rams, and that was like that's a big accomplishment. I'm really proud of him for that.
Yeah.
And he was where is he? He was at Michigan. Yeah, Michigan, and he was playing NCAA college football, and he got drafted. I think it's his third year, and he got drafted to the NFL. I was like, damn, that's dope.
I think this says so much about our society that like you're sitting here, you're like super proud of your buddy who like, you know, plays a game professionally.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who is literally a rocket scientist, and I'm just like, oh yeah, good for Sam. Like I'm like, whatever. You're just a character in my D&D game. You're just like, my friend throws balls. I'm like, that's really cool. And my guy my friend literally helps launch rockets into space. And I'm like, whatever, it's his job. How did we get here?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Yeah, societal priorities.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like something that's really cool, and it's a reason now that I have to be a fan of the Rams.
You know, the sports team in the city you
In the
live.
city, yeah.
So lame.
I didn't really care about it before, and I'm like, oh, cool, I know someone on that team.
Yep. That is cool though. That is that's exciting.
Yep.
And then he'll never be on the field, and you'll just be like, oh.
I'll never see him play.
But you're stuck watching every Rams game waiting.
Oh, please. He's not going to watch the Rams game.
I know.
I don't know about that.
Like,
Not-
if
Ben
they
not
end
big
up
into
in the
sports.
Super Bowl again,
Maybe.
then maybe he'll watch.
Oh hell yeah,
Maybe not even then.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I'd definitely watch that.
sure.
Would you, though?
I think so.
He's not even sure.
He's not.
And it's just a hypothetical at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Other than that though, I've like, what have you been up to for the last week other than dealing with the movie?
Ooh, that's a good question, because my life has like revolved around Endgame so far.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I saw the movie on Tuesday, which was pretty cool. But I mean, the only bad thing about that was that no one else had seen it, and I couldn't talk to anyone about it.
Yeah.
So that was like the rest of my week was like trying to hold it in.
Yeah.
Honestly, nothing happened with me.
That's so exciting. Yeah, I saw it Thursday night after work.
Yeah.
But oh man, it's basically the same for me. My whole week was just being sick and then just like building up to Avengers. No time for anything else.
Yeah, I think we, Cheyenne and I went over and watched Ant-Man and then Ant-Man and the Wasp, because those are the only ones that she hadn't seen.
Okay.
So we watched those. I saw Ant-Man, but I had not seen the Wasp. So seeing both those were pretty good.
They're fun.
Yeah, they're fun and they're funny movies. And I'm glad that I did. I mean, it's really
Careful.
yeah. When you think of Endgame, like, and Infinity War, this whole thing is like a culmination. So it's important to at least know the premise and what happens in the rest of the movies.
Yeah, Chase.
Chase.
It's important.
Yeah,
to know
okay, I know I
what
haven't
happens
seen them,
in
but
the
I know what
rest of
happens
them.
in
So
them.
you now haven't seen 7 of them, right? Because you hadn't seen 8, but now you've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
So I guess we're down to 7.
I guess so.
You just need to watch like, what the hell?
What was that?
There's the frog in his throat.
Frog in my throat.
Ribbit.
That was involuntary.
Okay, so that means there are only 7 movies left for you to see?
Yep.
Yeah, because there were 8. Now you've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'll probably go back and watch them still.
You said that weeks ago. I don't believe a word you say anymore.
I mean, I mean, Spider-Man is technically the end of phase 3, right? That's what they've been saying. So
Yeah,
I mean,
technically.
if I want to wait until or if I want to watch them before the end of phase 3, I still have until Spider-Man.
That's what, July?
I think so.
Okay. Whatever. Look, I don't think we can keep dancing around this any longer.
Yeah. Want to go over into your generic opinions about this movie before we go into spoiling it?
Okay. Here's my my spoiler-free quick take on Avengers Endgame. I fucking loved it.
Oh,
Movie of the year.
you think so?
Yeah. I don't know. It had everything I needed.
I just had this feeling.
What?
You're like much
Oh, yeah,
farther
my
from
bad.
the. and I
you're
can't hear
really
you as
far
much
away.
as probably the whole episode was like that.
She wasn't that bad earlier.
No, because I can see my
Levels.
Okay.
levels.
Sorry.
Okay. So here's my my quick spoiler-free little take on the movie. I fucking loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a feeling just by like the way you're dancing, you probably didn't like it quite as much as I did you?
Not as much, probably.
I think there's a reason though.
There might be.
Okay.
Okay, so what's your take, Chase?
I did definitely like it. And it is a really good movie, but then there are some things that I probably would have changed, or at least I feel like it like we talked about the first episode. I'm not sure if we mentioned this about first episode of Game of Thrones, but I know it has been like a point of not of contention, but like a point that people have brought up is that they're like something that Bran Stark says, like, we don't have time for all this, in regards to like downtime in the episode, like, or just like we have to like get to the point. And I kind of feel the same thing with this movie. There are some parts that are like a little bit drawn out, or that could have been edited more tightly, and that could have like there are some like pauses for comedic relief that could have like maybe been cut or something. I feel like it's already a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
And if you're like taking the time to draw out some scenes, like you could have edited it tighter and probably had more quality content in that area.
Okay,
That's just my 2 cents.
My argument against that would be, could you have cut out probably like 10 minutes out of this movie pretty easily without impacting like the overall plot? Yeah, probably. I can think of a couple scenes where I'm like, that maybe didn't need to go on as long as it did. But I actually think those scenes were all very important. Most of the scenes are all in the first act.
Mm-hmm.
And because once the second act gets going, this movie is like,
You're like gone.
yeah,
Just like,
it's off to the races.
yeah.
But I agree the movie does have some pacing issues. But I think they're all kind of purposeful. It's not a spoiler to say that, like, we're dealing with the consequences of a world like post snap.
Mhm.
You need to sell what's that like for these people and how it's impacted all of them before they work on trying to fix it, because it really goes to show where all these characters are mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to show like what they've lost and what they still have to lose. I think it's all really important, and it's what drives so much of the drama in the second half of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, again, could they have cut these a little bit? Yes, and I will talk about a couple scenes that I think could have like been trimmed down a little, like once we get into the spoiler talk.
Yeah.
But I never was bored at any point in this movie.
I don't think I was bored.
Yeah, no,
either.
but I mean, and that goes to show this is a 3-hour long movie, and I was never bored. It does not feel like a 3-hour movie.
I mean, just a heads up, if you are going to see it, don't bring a drink.
Yeah, you should probably just like tough this one out and make sure you go to the bathroom ahead of time.
Yeah, because I intentionally did not want to bring to drink anything, because I know that like personally I can't really hold it for that long.
I can.
I mean,
have
I
the
can
bladder of
hold
a
it.
child.
I can hold it, but like if I drink anything, it's like it goes through me pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying not to, but I was like sleepy, so I drank a Monster beforehand, and I drank it like probably like 40 minutes beforehand, but I didn't really finish it until about 10 minutes beforehand. So about an hour and a half into the movie is when I started to have to go to the bathroom, and then I had to wait for another hour and a half because I did not want to leave.
Yeah, I had kind of had to go to the bathroom at about the 2.5 hour mark, but I'm like, I can power through.
Yeah. Like I don't think I probably would have fallen asleep because I didn't. Well, I mean, I started at 12, but I had opened that morning, and I didn't really take a nap, so I was like awake for a while.
There you go. Cheyenne, what's your take on the movie?
I don't know how to talk about it without spoilers.
No. I mean, just like, did you like the movie?
I did. So I hate long movies. I don't have patience for long movies. And this one, when it was over, I was like, oh shoot, I actually sat through a 3-hour movie without ever feeling bored or feeling movie fatigue. Because usually, even with movies that I like, because with Infinity War, at some point, I loved Infinity War, but at one point I was like, okay, it's getting a little too long. I need to leave. But this one, it was like there was enough going on that felt important that it was good.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So I don't know why you would need our opinion on this in the matter, but I think general consensus is see this damn movie.
Yeah.
Odds are pretty decent you already have because apparently like half of the world already has.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's Sunday right now. We are still at, it's all estimates because the official numbers for the weekend obviously haven't come in. There's still a whole day to sell tickets. But where we're looking at estimate wise, at the 5-day mark globally, this movie's made $1.2 billion.
Crazy.
Which is madness.
Insane.
All it basically needs to do is double that, and it'll just off of that alone be the second highest grossing movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Domestically, it's looking to land at about $350 million.
Also insane.
Which is over 90 million more than what will be second place, which is Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to go up a little bit when actual's coming in. So it's broken like every record on Earth, and it's just going to make more money.
Disney is lining their pockets.
No kidding. They are pleased as punch.
Yeah. And then, I mean, going forward with the Marvel, not even a cinematic universe, but like just the universe in general, they can bank off of this, like Disney Plus, everything that they're doing, like it's gonna be lucrative.
It is. I have stuff to say about like where things are going moving forward. But yeah, I mean, if there was any doubt that they had like a huge cash cow on their hands, which there shouldn't have been, this proved it.
Yeah.
This is monumentally game changing. All right. But that being said, it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling anything. Because as they had said multiple times, almost nothing in any of the trailers was like past the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
There's like a couple things without context, but like, yeah.
Anything else like besides that would have spoiled everything.
Yes. Yeah. So we really can't keep talking about this movie without spoilers. So if you have not seen this movie, seriously, do not listen if you care, because this movie is
if you
a
care
journey.
at all.
Yeah.
Like, even if you like don't really mind spoilers, I would say don't listen.
Because this movie is a journey, and it's a journey you do not know you're going on until it starts. And how often can you honestly say that nowadays?
Yeah.
Where you're watching a movie, a huge blockbuster film, and you basically don't know the actual plot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't say that nowadays.
Yeah. I know Cheyenne usually doesn't mind spoilers, and she was asking me because after seeing it on Tuesday, like there was no one to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, you can talk to me about it. I'm like, I don't want to because I want you to see it yourself. There were some things that I did spoil for her because she specifically asked me questions about it.
To be honest, I needed to prepare though.
Yeah, for certain things, but there were other things that I intentionally did not tell her so that she could experience herself.
Yeah.
And I implore you, if you say you don't mind spoilers, like just watch it before it's spoiled for you.
Yeah, because it's worth it. So yeah, for anybody who's leaving, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, tweet us at ZymMedia.
It's a real short episode for you. We're so sorry, but this conversation is going to be long.
Yeah.
And we really couldn't push it off any longer.
Yes.
So thank you for listening, and hopefully you'll be hearing from us next week. But for everybody else, welcome to the spoiler talk and I guess our quasi review of Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
So it's time travel, which I think we all basically knew.
That was like a
that was the major theory.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, the big giveaway for most people when it came to the time travel theory was that there were set photos that were leaked that were clearly set during the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that.
I did. I knew about that about like 8 months ago.
I think like just time travel was another one of the theories. Like I had seen a lot of theories, and time travel was one of them. I wasn't sure which route the movie was actually going to take, but then once it was time travel, I'm like, oh, I was like, That's cool.
You were
But
bummed?
I wish I didn't know
Yeah,
about
no,
that theory.
I agree with that too. I wish I'd.
So I don't like theories, like Game of Thrones theories or anything. Because
Who's gonna die tonight?
There's a oh, fuck, shut up. There's a chance that any of those theories can be right, and I just want the show to experience that, like to experience it through the show and not through someone else's theory.
I get you. So I think the best way to talk about this movie is just kind of go through it, because otherwise we'll forget stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's a long movie.
Yeah.
Thing is, I love long movies.
I do too. Actually,
the opposite
I
of Cheyenne.
love long movies, and
I
this.
love extended editions of Lord of the Rings. Oh,
You know, I mean,
God.
even for me, those are
God.
even a little long. But okay, so opening scene: Hawkeye on his farm,
yeah.
teaching his daughter how to shoot a bow and arrow.
my
We all
gosh.
knew where this was
Yeah,
going.
like it started with him, and I was like, oh no.
Talk
weird.
about bad luck.
I know,
yeah.
right?
Oh, his whole family.
All 4 of his family
Snap.
members. This actually reminds me of the Leftovers HBO show.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, in that show, like 2% of the Earth's population just like vanished all at once.
2%.
Just 2%. That doesn't sound like much, but it fucked with people, man.
I'm sure.
But one of the characters, Nora, on that show, I guess spoilers for the first season of The Leftovers. It's like episode 6. But only 2% of people left, both of her kids and her husband. Oof. Like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
I mean, I could very easily
speaking of bad
calculate.
luck too, freaking Ant-Man.
Oh yeah.
At the last scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yep.
That's bad luck.
Everybody who could help him.
Gone. All 3 of them gone.
God bless that rat. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a minute, though.
Rat.
I feel like there are better ways to handle that.
I don't, okay.
So, so the opening scene was, I theorized this is how they were going to open the movie, because, we wanted to be introduced to Hawkeye right away.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we have to know his whole family's dead to see where he
to
goes.
see his journey.
Yeah, and he has a great arc in the movie, but immediately followed up by Tony and Nebula in space.
Yeah. Well, actually, do you want to? Okay, because the original, like the opening scene, or one of the scenes was him training his daughter, right?
Yes,
and a lot of like also theories, I guess, would be
like
that,
Kate Bishop.
Yeah, but I mean, well, obviously his daughter's not Kate Bishop.
I know,
right?
but
but
that-
like, is
that
she
whole
taking
path.
the place of Kate Bishop, or will there be a Kate Bishop that will take the reign of Hawkeye?
I don't know. Probably not. Probably not anytime soon, at least.
Well, speaking of like, I mean, that's what I wouldn't think so either, except for we do see characters passing on their mantles.
I know, and we will get to that.
Yeah,
And
at the
it's
end.
it's
That's the
definitely
very
something
end.
I have to I have points to make about.
But you were saying,
Yeah.
Nebula.
So next up, Nebula and Tony in space. I thought it was really important that the first scene of that was them playing like freaking
Yeah.
like finger
Yeah.
football.
yeah,
It was kind of important levity immediately after watching a man lose his whole family.
yeah,
And immediately
fun.
before another
I like that.
sad emotional
I
scene.
totally forgot that Nebula was out there with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember all the trailers that were being pushed, like was all just Tony in
Yeah.
space, and I forgot how Infinity War ended in that regard. And when I showed, I'm like, was Nebula on that ship? Like I don't remember.
Yeah. So they are adrift on the Benatar, and just apparently everything's gone to crap. Now, I would like to point out though, I don't know if Disney understands how space travel works. Because the engines went out, so we're just stopped dead in space. That's not how that
That's not
works.
how it works. Well, I mean,
You would still be moving in the direction you aimed yourself.
did it? Was the ship not moving? Did he say that they were like,
Basically, he's like, we're dead in the water.
Oh, I felt I
Okay.
think from the scene like I could see them drifting still.
It didn't
Yeah.
look
But,
like it to me, but
Oh, I thought he was.
I felt like it was.
I feel like here's the deal. Why didn't you just fucking aim yourself the right way and then just shoot yourself off towards whatever? The fact remains, they're stranded in space. They're running out of oxygen. They're out of food. Like everything's fucked.
So Nebula is like basically cyborg.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Does she? Because I feel like it's important for her, like to her character, that she like gave the rest of the food to Tony.
Yes. She
Does
does
she
still need
need
food.
food? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's a real big point. for her
Because in
character.
Guardians Volume 2,
She really wanted that.
that one. What's it
the
called? The
fruit.
something root.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's not right.
It's not right.
And
It's
then
not
she
right.
finally takes a bite in front of all the people,
The
and she's like,
Ravagers.
she spits it out. She's like, it's not right.
I don't remember.
Yeah. You don't remember that?
Yeah, 'cause she's
they
like,
set
"Look."
that joke up like too much.
I know, because like the whole time she's like, I'm starving. Give me the root. Yeah.
Like, it's not right. And they keep pulling it away from her. Yeah, no. Okay.
Okay.
But that's really big in like
Yeah.
the switch that Nebula has from like being the loyal daughter of Thanos to
A hero.
a hero and like self-sacrificing.
Yeah, I really love her arc in this movie.
She's one of the. I think she has
She's
one
like
of the
the
best.
highlight of.
She's one of the best
One of my
parts of the
highlights.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
But and who would have thought that going in?
Yeah.
like, oh man, Nebula's journey is great. It's like, okay.
This character?
I mean, she's not bad. I liked her in Guardians too.
Yeah. Guardians 1, not so much.
well, you're not supposed to.
I actually liked her though.
Of course you did.
Of course you did. So yeah, they're in space. Tony, I mean, there's the scene everybody saw from the trailers with him leaving the message for Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of like, okay, I guess I'm just going to roll onto the floor and fall asleep now.
Yeah.
And,
And then-
she puts him up in the chair.
That was nice. That was sweet.
And lo and behold, who comes to save them?
How convenient.
Okay, now, okay.
That was my initial thought.
Okay, wow, Chase.
Yes. Okay, it's obviously a good initial thought. You're just like, and there's Captain Marvel. You're like, what the fuck are the odds of that? It's space.
Yeah.
I do have a reason why I think so.
I can probably justify it.
Yeah, I have an easy justification there. But okay, now I was actually surprised to find that the post credit scene
Yeah.
from Captain Marvel not in the movie.
No, it's basically assumed that you've already seen it and they pick up after that.
Yeah, so like she was already there. They already know her. Moved on. The way they tell that to you is Cap has already shaved his beard,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they show him with the razor, like
Yeah.
putting it down.
and so you're like, well, I guess that scene can't be in the movie anymore
Yeah.
because he
shaved his
definitely had a
beard.
beard.
Yeah. So like it's already assumed, or it's already, assumed that she
Implied.
that's the word. She already touched base with the Avengers on Earth and
And they have sent her.
sent her to pick up Tony, basically.
Yeah. So my mental excuse for that is like Rocket probably has some way of tracking
Yeah.
where the Benatar
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that makes sense. But my initial thought was like, what the fuck?
Like, what?
I hate this.
Yeah, and so they land, and we get super pissed off Tony, which I wasn't expecting him to go that way, but I get it.
I get it.
He looks super emaciated and super unhealthy in that scene.
Yeah, I totally get
That's
that.
totally where I thought he would go though.
No, I figured they
know.
were going to be at like, look, man, we got to get past this, but I mean, to be fair, the movie goes in directions I wasn't expecting. So yeah, Tony's pissed. He blames Cap for not being there and for breaking up the Avengers. And if they had all been together, they probably could have stopped him, and that's probably true. But yeah, and he's like, he's way too unhealthy to be of any help. So the remaining Avengers and Captain Marvel are like, look, we know where Thanos is now.
Let's go kill him.
Let's go kill him.
And they do.
Wow, you just jumped straight to it. But yeah.
When they get there.
Well, that's true. That's kind of how it happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Thanos is dead within the first 15 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, I was
which
like-
I was not ready for.
I was like,
I know, right? I was like, wait,
okay.
wait,
Yeah, so
what's gonna happen the rest of the movie?
yeah, so they go.
Like,
to-
obviously, Thanos isn't a big point in this movie.
Yeah.
Not true.
So they go to the garden, Thanos' farm. He's limping around like a like a
Old
cripple. And yeah, so he is all sorts of messed up. And you're like, he looks worse than he did in fucking
Yeah.
at the end of
I was
Infinity
like, did
War.
that happen? Like,
And it
from Infinity War?
And they immediately explain because like, yeah, there was like another source of the power. He just snapped and destroyed all of the Infinity Stones.
Like, I don't need him anymore.
I feel like this is going to be a very key point moving forward, as the movie kind of hints at. But yeah, so they're all gone, and so the Avengers come in. They just wreck Thanos' shop, and then they're talking,
Decapitate him.
and then Thor goes for the head.
I went what? I went for the head.
Yeah, and so Thanos is dead. Like, well, 2018 Thanos is dead,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that just puts that little nugget on there. But now the stones are gone, and there is no way of bringing everyone back.
Like, we'll put a pin in that.
Yep, we're just tying that bow. And then the movie just drops its mic with the 5 years later.
I was like,
Spacing of that.
I knew I called.
You knew there was a time jump,
I knew there was a time
but-
jump. I thought it was 2 years. It was 5 years.
yeah, it's like, oh man. And then it's just like, yeah, guess what? Shit's fucked. Moving
Yeah.
on.
Like, I was like, 5 years? Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So yeah, we rejoin all of our characters in very bad places.
And 5 years later, San Francisco, California.
Yeah. The rat that saves the universe.
Yeah, they're
Honestly, though,
literally-
the rat is responsible for the saving of those lives.
Yeah. So a random rat randomly walks. So we go to a storage closet in San Francisco.
Closet.
Whatever. A storage garage in San Francisco where like the stupid van from
La Cucaracha Mobile.
from Ant-Man and the Wasp is just chilling and with Scott's other stuff. And yeah, a rat just happens to press all the right buttons and it ejects him out of the quantum realm where he was stuck at the end of that movie.
Enter Ant-Man.
Enter Ant-Man coming in, saving the movie with being awesome the whole time.
Yeah.
And then we got a scene of him holding up a sign to try and get the security guard to let him out. That security guard, Ken Jeong.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
So
wearing a
random.
mustache.
I was like,
It's not super random. He's not the only Community cast member that gets a cameo in this movie.
because I don't watch Community.
It's fine.
I thought it was a woman.
No.
What?
Was it a mustache? I don't
It's a
remember.
mustache.
Yeah,
remember.
it was a mustache. That's an ugly woman.
Hey, that's a pretty woman.
Yeah. So it's because the Russo brothers
Yeah.
directed a lot of episodes of Community.
Oh, okay.
So they're friends with all these guys. It's the same reason Danny Putty was in Winter Soldier. Yeah. Yeah. So he gets out because of a stupid rat hitting all the right buttons.
Yeah, apparently hit the correct buttons to eject
the correct order.
Scott Lang.
I like how it's apparently a 1 in a billion chance to get out of the quantum realm successfully when you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a smart rat. It's Master Splinter. Yeah, so he gets out and he is basically our eyes into seeing like what is essentially just like a post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like nobody gives a shit anymore.
And then he makes his way through San Francisco, decimated San Francisco, asking
Yes.
a kid what happened. Kid
Just,
cries.
he just drives off and like, man,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah, gets back to his ex-wife's house.
No. That's not what happens first.
that not-
He goes to the there's like the whole park dedicated to all the
Yeah,
people that
Mark.
died.
Oh, right. He looks
And
for
so
he looks for
Cassie's
Cassie.
name.
That's right.
And she's not
His
there.
name.
His name is.
Yeah.
Which he just books it.
Yeah, but that's okay. So
This is the scene. This is the first time I cried.
when Cassie
Yeah.
opens the door for Cassie,
Yeah, when
I
he
didn't- I
reunites
didn't-
with Cassie.
that scene I was like, hasn't it only been 5 years? How the fuck old is she?
Yeah, she looked way older than
I was like,
would've
what?
thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, realistically speaking, though, that's close enough to accurate.
How old
It's
is she?
easy
I
to
just
forget.
didn't know how old she
I think
was.
by Ant-Man and the Wasp, she was 8 or 9. So she's like 14. That's not
Yeah.
unrealistically 14.
Yeah.
5 years is a long time.
I was like so confused. I'm like, that's fucking Cassie. I was like, what the fuck?
Wait, pause. Did you cry, Chase?
No.
During this
No.
movie?
I did not cry at all during this movie.
I cried multiple times throughout this movie. I'm not afraid to admit that. You didn't need
I-
to pause for that. He can admit it.
I'm sorry. I wanted to know.
I don't know why I did not cry.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
you did it.
Yeah. No, I normally don't cry during movies, but I cried a lot. I don't know why the scene between him and Cassie just like totally caught me. And just like you're so big.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just hit me. But yeah, so he is reunited with Cassie. Basically gets the lowdown on everything that's going on. So cut back to our other Avengers. Basically just Captain America and Black Widow. Captain America, I guess, just spends his time now leading a support group.
There's still everyone on the intercoms.
I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
So Captain America, I guess, just spends his time leading a support group.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, he's Captain America. He's gotta be motivational.
Yeah, and he doing a good old job, spouting a lot of rhetoric he does not believe.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you just got to move on. I can't move on. And then Black Widow, I guess, is just point person for the remainder of the Avengers,
Yeah.
and everybody like working out. So it's like what we have: Rhodey,
Okoye.
Captain Marvel,
Captain Marvel with more
with her
more,
short hair.
more comic accurate Captain Marvel.
Well, to be fair, she's had both of those hairstyles in the comics. Then Nebula and Rocket. And that's apparently our team now. And that's all we got left. And they're all kind of reporting, talking about how like there's like earthquakes. And what do you do? What did you do about that? Nothing. It's a fucking earthquake. Which again, I think is actually more important than we think. Plus, there's just like shit going on all over the galaxy. Captain Marvel's like, I ain't got time for this.
Yeah.
My argument would
You're
be
not gonna see me for a long time. I was
Yeah.
like, of course. How convenient. Her role in this movie is
almost non-existent.
non-existent.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. I was like, are you kidding me?
I was actually totally okay with that because I, still didn't like her much in this movie either.
Well, because she filmed this movie before
Before.
Captain Marvel.
And they didn't tell her anything
Yeah.
about it. They just gave her lines and were like, read these lines.
It's not her fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she did fine in this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fine.
I just didn't.
It's just weird.
I didn't like her entrance. It's just like, I'm gonna go kill Thanos now. I guess y'all can come. This is a movie all about the importance of a team, and she doesn't give one shit about the team she's
Yeah.
working with.
Yep.
It didn't. I don't think it earns you any favors to be like, I'm better than all of you guys who are the characters that we've been following for 11 years.
I mean, she is.
I was like,
but
shut up. Is she though?
I mean,
she's fucking OP.
She's super helpful.
Yeah, she was helpful, but she
She
wasn't.
did not win the fight.
I know she was not as OP as I thought. Just
She's one punched.
Just takes one.
Saitama Sensei just like showed up, punched her one time, and moved on. All right. Yeah. So Black Widow's kind of point person. Barely. She's clearly checked out. At least a little bit. She's just like feet up on the desk making a sandwich while everybody's like reporting to her. It's like, look, who gives a shit? I mean, I'm doing this because I want to do some good, but how much good can we really do anymore?
I don't know. I felt like she was like pretty emotionally invested.
Well, she's clearly emotionally invested in this, but also there's like an undercurrent of like, what am I doing? Because like literally, if you watch her body language and what she's saying, they're two completely different things.
Now, is that Black Widow or is that Scarlett Johansson?
I think it's Black Widow. That would basically be you suggesting Scarlett Johansson is a bad actress.
No, not necessarily.
Yes, it is.
Stop it.
He's like,
That's
is
a
that what
bad
she
actor.
wanted to do, or is that just her just not acting as her character? No, because like, why would she have her feet up on the desk? Why would she be just like making a sandwich?
If that's what you mean, then yeah.
Yeah, like her body language. And so she's clearly, there's been 5 years of this. I feel like at some point you have to start getting demoralized.
Yeah.
That's more what I mean. Not that she doesn't care. She clearly cares. She cares basically more than anybody else in this fucking movie.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yes.
Yeah, so they kind of have a quick little conversation, her and Cap when he comes back. We've kind of seen this in the trailer too. It's like, we can't move on.
Well, before that, they also, Rhodey mentions...
Yeah, you're right. Fuck, I forgot about
Barton.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm down in Mexico.
And fucking bodies laid out because, hey, your old boy Hawkeye is fucking murdering people.
He just goes around and kills bad guys. He's just straight up the Punisher now.
Yeah, and didn't she cry for that? Like, isn't that what? Like,
Yes.
Like, she was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, she's very emotionally affected by like what's going on with Clint, and then, she is the heart of this movie in a lot of ways. Okay, calm down. The heart and soul.
No, I'm sad. Yeah, the soul. Ah.
Yeah. So she and Captain America have a little conversation just about like how they can't move on, and lo and behold, who shows up at the front door? Scott Lang.
Trailer
moment. Yeah.
moment, yeah.
The one moment with levity in that trailer. Yeah. So he's there, and he's like, "Yo, guys, look, I get shit's been going on. Like I've been stuck in the quantum realm. It's like it's been a long it must have been a long 5 years in there. It's 5 hours.
Yeah. Are you gonna get that sandwich?
You need that sandwich? I'm real
sorry.
hungry." I mean, he did go all the way across the country, I suppose.
Yeah. I was like, I was thinking too. I'm like, he just came from San Francisco.
Yep.
Like, how the fuck did he drive?
Yes, he literally had to have driven.
Yeah.
The van is there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey man, you get how you gotta go.
Hey, traffic's not really a problem anymore.
Yeah, it's like half as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
Thanks, Thanos.
Thanos did nothing wrong.
Hashtag.
Yeah. Hashtag Infinity War. Thanos did nothing wrong. This Thanos
Yes.
is different.
Yes. Yeah. So he's like, "Yo, so what about if we build a device that allows us to enter the quantum realm at one point in time and exit in another, like a time machine? No,
Nah,
not like a
that's
time
ridiculous.
machine. No. Okay, so yeah, a time machine. Like, well, if we're gonna build a time machine, we got to get somebody smart." And cut to Tony.
Yep.
And
Morgan.
Yep, and Morgan. Tony is a father.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple years. He's married to Pepper. He has a daughter named Morgan, and he has an awesome life.
Yeah.
Like,
Lake house.
yeah, like a nice lake house. He's clearly just like retired, doing what he wants. And yeah, of all the people in this movie,
Everything worked out for him.
things kind of
that
worked out
point.
just fine for Tony. And it goes to show you, like, maybe not everyone is worse off because of what Thanos did, but, you know, is it worth it? So
That was really his moral dilemma.
yes, because he had something to lose in ways that he never did before. So yeah, so they show up, and you see he has this really cute relationship with his daughter.
Super cute.
Yes, and they show up, and I mean, 5 years is a long time, so he's not really mad anymore at them. Like I was expecting, because it's a movie, and like 20 minutes ago he was like yelling at Cap, but it's been 5 years. He's like, "Hey, Cap." And he's like, "Yeah, look, no talking shop here, but if you guys want to stay, like Pepper's making lunch." But they ask him to like help them figure out time. He's like, "No, like you're all gonna get yourselves killed, and I can't afford to like lose what I have." And he's like, "So good luck with that, but I'm gonna go." And so they're like, "Well, then I guess we're gonna need a big brain."
Banner Hulk.
And so we get Professor Hulk, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess over the preceding 5 years, Hulk and Banner made up and actually became one creature. So all the strength of the Hulk, all of Banner's intelligence, dabbing and taking pictures with kids.
Oh my god,
that
that's
was
cringe.
weird.
So this, I mean, that was kind of the point, though. He's just like
Yeah.
super nerdy.
Yeah.
And he's always been that lame. It just feels even more
Yeah.
lame coming out of the Hulk.
Yeah.
He basically agrees to help, but he's like, look, that's not my field of expertise at all. So I'll do my best. This is definitely has a scene that I think could have been cut entirely. The entire whole thing with the kids.
Selfies?
Yeah, and no, and the thing was
Well,
like
and the
with
Scott
Ant-Man.
selfie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, you could have cut this. The joke was not funny enough to stay, and it takes way too long. It's
I
like a
was like,
solid
you're
minute.
still going on this? You're still going on this? Like, fucking
And then
cut it, cut
and
it.
he's like, just take the fucking just take the damn phone. And that's like the one point where I laughed, but I was like, that wasn't worth it.
I could have said that like 10 seconds ago, 20 seconds ago, 50 seconds ago.
Yeah, it was like seriously like a solid minute. I'm like, well, there's the one. It's 3 hours and 1 minute movie. There's that minute we didn't need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Banner agrees to help them out, and so he starts working on a time machine, which leads us to the fun little scene with like Scott as an old man and a baby.
And a baby.
He's like, somebody be in the suit. I don't know if it was old me or baby me,
Or just me.
or maybe it was just me. But yeah, things have gone to crap. We cut back to Tony, and he is he's just like messing around with the time machine ideas, but he puts Morgan to bed, and they have this cute little scene. She's like, read me a story. He's like, there was a girl named Morgan. She went to bed. Good night. Like, that's not a story. It's your favorite story. Like, it's like, and it's like, I love you 3,000.
Oh, that was so cute.
Yep. And so he goes down to Pepper. It's like, she loves me 3,000. I think you're like somewhere in like the 980 range. But the important thing here is that he had cracked how to do time travel.
Yeah.
Apparently not that hard at all.
Not for Tony Stark.
Not for Tony Stark. But he's like, oh, what you reading? He's like something about like composting. He's like, oh, composting. I figure out time travel. He's like, I can put this away. I can like shelve it. Like I can stop. And she has this great line. She's like, one of the few things I ever succeeded in, I ever failed at in my life was making you stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you won't be able. He's like, I can go up and I can sleep. And she's like, but you won't be able to rest, which is super important for the end of the movie.
Oh.
And she's
That
like,
almost got me.
that did get me. And so she's like, you and I both know you got to do this. And so he shows up, and he's like, let's do this shit. It's time travel time.
Did he say something about like, oh, was he a baby or something? Like, did he
yeah,
mention
it's
the?
like-
Yeah. When he gets there, he's like, was he a baby? Yeah. But he and Cap have their first real conversation, just one-on-one.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, what's up? Here's your shield back. My dad made it for you. Don't lose it again. But yeah, so with him on board, they build the time machine, and they kind of gather what's left of the team, which
Oh, Fat Thor.
I love Fat Thor.
Fat Thor is my spirit animal.
Oh my god.
So they go to New Asgard, which is in Norway.
Yeah.
And we run into Valkyrie. She's fine. She's basically running the place while Thor has gone into
That's important.
true depression. Yes. So we go to Thor's house, and
He's playing Fortnite with Korg.
Korg and Meek are there, and they're playing Fortnite because I guess after the snap, nobody bothered making new games for 5 years.
Nope.
And they mentioned Thanos. He's like, we don't say that name.
He also yells at some random internet kid. Which
Yeah.
is
Like
great.
gamer noob or something.
Yeah, gamer noob or something.
He's like, I will go to your house. I will destroy you. Yeah. So Thor clearly broken by failing, even though he did kill Thanos. He still failed, and he will blame himself. So he's let himself go. He's just been drinking a whole lot.
A whole lot.
And
Not working out.
not working out a little bit, and apparently that's all that takes to lose that Thor bod and get a dad bod or a me bod. Yeah, so he is in terrible shape. But they basically were like, "Hey," he's like, "I'm not gonna go." He's like, "But we have beer."
Yes. What
He's like-
kind?
Like, I'll go.
That's the thing that I feel like he really did like. It obviously just wasn't the beer. He wanted to be able
Yes.
to help, but it's like he needed an excuse. And it's like,
Of course.
That's like
Thor
a
still
lot
has
of-
his pride,
Yeah.
whether he should or not. It's a whole different story. Yeah, and then Rocket and Nebula show up.
Yeah.
That was the easy part, and I think that's the whole team, right? Am I forgetting anybody?
Well, Natasha goes to
Oh yeah, Japan.
Japan to get Clint.
Also, a helpful hint. I mean, you're not here if you've already seen the movie. While this scene is cool, might be your best chance to go to the bathroom if you really need to.
Yeah, honestly.
Because yeah, the scene goes exactly how you expect it will. Hawkeye as Ronin now, going around killing bad guys. Awesome little sword fight. But she's like, "Look, we might have a way." And he's like, "Don't give me hope." And I'm like, "Oh man, yeah, that would be rough." But she's like, "No, but we have it." And he's like, "Fine." So yeah, recruited, and that's the whole team.
Mm-hmm. She's sorry that she couldn't give it to him earlier.
Exactly. Yeah, we get. Oh, and also when when Rocket and Nebula show up, you have the scene with Ant-Man and the taco.
Oh.
He just carefully builds this little taco. Then the ship landing just completely destroys it. But good old Hulk coming in with the assist with more tacos.
Yeah.
So dumb, but I loved it.
I know.
Yeah.
I really like that scene. I liked it more than I should have.
That was really funny. About Thor, I didn't think they were gonna stick with his body the whole time.
Yeah, but no, he's Fat Thor whole movie.
Yeah.
I was expecting like at some point call down lightning, suddenly in shape again.
Yeah, it's like
Or like super workout moment. And then
Yeah, like quick times. Yeah,
he's a god though. Does it really need to work out?
clearly he does.
Yeah, obviously. 'cause
We've learned.
he was
Or
Fat Thor the
is
whole
he just
time.
allowing himself to look that way?
I guarantee you, if that were true, the end battle, he would have lost it and gone back to normal Thor. Yeah. So what is an interesting fact though? When Thor shows up, Tony calls him, Lebowski.
Yeah.
A big Lebowski reference, starring Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges, who played the bad guy in Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
How's that work out?
Oh.
I think it's inevitable, right? You have enough like stars in your franchise, but like,
Was Jeff Bridges Zachariah? Was that
Yeah.
the bad guy in the first one?
yeah,
That Jeff Bridges?
yes,
He
that's
lo-
Jeff
he
Bridges.
just looks really odd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The haircut.
I can tell by the voice, I guess.
yeah. Tony. Yeah. So how does that match up?
That's
I
fine.
guarantee that's not the only example of this, but he's the only
No,
one I
I'm
can
sure
think of. When they're like, they've referenced so many movies, I'm like, there's got to be at least one more cast member in these movies. In one of these movies, they reference.
That's funny though, because Thor as Lebowski is like the whole movie. Like that's
Yes.
his
That's his shtick.
that's his shtick the whole movie.
And it's honestly, he looks like it.
Yeah.
So they're drafting the plan, and they're basically like, look, we need to get all the Infinity Stones from the past, reform them, do the snap, undo everything that happened, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Eventually they figure out they also need to put them back.
Yes.
But-
big point.
Yes. But like get these stones from the past, and like now we got to like figure out who to get what. And then they're like, hey, if you think about it, if you go to the exact right time, 3 of the 6 Infinity Stones are all in New York. I'm like, what are the odds of that? So they basically figure out that there are 3 different points in time they can jump that could basically get them to all of the stones. So they split into 3 teams. I like how they don't really tell you what the teams are until you actually see them in action.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Okay, let's go to the easiest one first. So you have Thor and Rocket,
Thor and Rocket.
who are sent to Thor the Dark World because that's the only real time the Aether ever mattered. And their job is just to get the Aether out of Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman. We gotta suck it out of Natalie Portman.
And he is not.
Ooh, Thor's a mess.
Thor is a huge fucking mess. He's like,
He's like, I shouldn't have come. I shouldn't have been here.
I shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be here. And he like refuses to help Rocket.
Like, oh shit, it's my mom.
Yep. And
Still alive.
and he runs into his mom, played by Renee Russo. And that's a good scene. Also gave her more to do than I think she had to do in the entire first 2 Thor movies before she died.
Yeah.
I think somebody pointed out that like she literally has more lines in this movie than she did in the first 2 Thor movies combined.
Dang, that's funny.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's a great little scene between them. And okay, here's my question. The scene with like Natalie Portman taking a nap and waking up.
Mhm.
Did they honestly get her back just for that? Because
I
that
think
scene is
so.
not in
I
Thor the
think
Dark
so.
World.
Yeah.
Or was it just like B-roll that they didn't
Oh.
use for Thor the Dark World?
Well, okay.
Because
they don't
when she
show-
walks away with Rocket there, you don't see her face.
yeah, you don't see her.
So I'm like,
don't know.
maybe,
I don't know.
maybe not. I don't know. I know she was at the premiere. So maybe at least in some way they've kind of like buried the hatchet because like she did not like them. That's why she stopped doing the movies.
Why? Wonder Woman.
yes, who she had like campaigned for and fought for and stuff. And so when Patty Jenkins was essentially fired from Thor: The Dark World, she was like, "Oh fuck all you." That's why she like doesn't give a shit in that whole movie.
Oh.
Yeah, and then she's like, "I'm not going to work with you ever again," which is why she wasn't in like she didn't show up in any of the other movies. And then like Thor Ragnarok, like, oh, they broke up off screen.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where they're because like when Thor is explaining the ether. And he's
That
like,
was awesome scene because
Yeah, that
like
was great.
you really don't need to watch Thor: The Dark World to get anything out of this because he just gives this kind of like drunken, just shitty
summary.
of it. And I love how everyone else is like, "Oh, this is so embarrassing," and then you pan over to Scott, who's like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever heard." Because you got to think about it, for everybody else, this is just like any other day of the week. For Scott Lang, this is the coolest shit he's ever seen.
Yeah, and it's really funny because he's like, "Oh yeah, like we were fling, we were fling."
One of my old flames.
Oh yeah,
It's just like, so
That's
great.
right, yeah.
He's just like, and then there were dark elves. Ooh. It's like the movie itself is shitting on Thor: The Dark World as much as any fan could.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other two teams you got, which is really one team, and then another team that was two teams, and then should we do the Guardian stuff or Avengers first? Because they're both pretty big and they're both pretty important.
We can do Avengers. Actually, no, let's do Guardians first.
Yeah.
Fuck, they both have like really big things. That I
Yes,
need to
that's the
address.
problem. Let's just do Guardians first.
Okay.
So they jump back to the time frame from the first Guardians of the Galaxy,
2014.
which at this point,
All right, this has
is
ramifications.
9
for the
years
entire
earlier.
rest of the movie.
yes, it's a big deal. But so let's go to the easier of the two groups first. So you have Nebula and
Hawkeye,
no, Nebula and Rhodey.
Rhodey. That's right.
They stay behind on whatever the fucking planet is,
Yeah.
waiting for Peter to show
Quill.
up. Peter Quill to show up.
Opening scene of Guardians.
Nothing better than when they pan to like kind of showing his perspective, and then it just cuts over to them watching him, and he's just an asshole, like kicking lizards.
So he's an idiot.
So he's an idiot. Yes. Just waiting for the opportunity for him to basically just like show them where the stone is.
Yep.
And
I totally forgot that because when they said that Quill got the Power Stone, I totally forgot that was the opening scene of Guardians, and like that he found the Power Stone. I totally forgot about that.
yeah, it was right there, right at the start.
I was like, when the fuck when did this happen? And then when it opened, I'm like, oh.
Ding, 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 ding.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. And so they deal with Quill, kind of knock him out, take the stone. But complicating matters is that current Nebula, like future Nebula and past Nebula,
Like
are apparently on the same Wi-Fi.
Yep, they're on the same network.
And so when like past Nebula is reporting to Thanos and stuff, she kind of gets a flash, and like her little like I guess projector
Her little R2D2.
like just activates and shows a scene from the movie that like is what's happening concurrently.
Yeah, what the other Nebula
Is like seeing and doing, which kind of gives Thanos is like, wait a minute, I think I know what's happening here. I'm like, man, you just jumped straight to that, didn't you?
Yeah.
He's like, time travel. You're like, okay, I mean, you're right, but probably wouldn't have been my first guess.
Nope.
I was expecting just like this to be like a one-off. I didn't think that they would like drag Thanos back.
Yeah,
like this.
I was like,
so I thought he was just gonna be like.
I thought he was gonna try to take the stone.
Well, I thought he was
something.
just gonna like kill Nebula, thinking she was betraying him.
Ooh.
That's what I thought was gonna happen.
Ooh. That would
Yeah,
have
that's
had,
where
that
I
would have
thought
had
that
major
would-
ramifications too.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't actually
Potentially.
matter because like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This
whole
movie's
timeline is
rule
weird.
with time travel are complicated
Yeah, it's confusing.
and inconsistent.
See, Back to the Future is a lie.
Okay, now, but so here's the thing. Yeah, like the rules from Back to the Future and all this other stuff, they're not true. Don't like disregard the fact though that this entire movie's second act is literally Back to the Future Part 2, which I know you don't get the reference
No.
for.
No.
You
No.
fucks.
No.
I hate you guys so much. Because yeah, Back to the Future Part 2, the first part is they're in the future, and it doesn't really matter. But like a sports almanac is taken back in time and given to the villain of the first movie in 1955.
Okay.
And so he knows like all of the winning bets to place,
Yeah.
and by 1985 is like hugely rich.
Okay.
and it's just like fucked over Marty's life. And so Marty has to go back to 1955 to steal the almanac. And so what's happening is, since all the first movie basically takes place in 1955, he is skirting around him and all the events of the movie, making sure those still happen, whilst trying to like
Like the sports almanac.
oh, it's so great. I love that movie. It's so corny and stupid, but it's so good. But yeah, so Thanos kind of figures out what's going on. Nebula and Rhodey try and do warp back. Rhodey does. Nebula does not. It fails, and then she's kidnapped.
Saw that coming.
Yep, taken by Thanos, and past Nebula replaces her as like an inside
With her little gold strip.
yeah, little gold strip on it, and just becomes like the inside woman.
I'm sure even without that strip, no one would have noticed.
Nobody would have noticed
No
a
one
goddamn
would've
thing.
noticed.
Yeah, and then also going on in the Guardians timeline, we have Black Widow and Hawkeye
Oh, that's right.
heading to Vormir.
Oh.
How did I not see this coming or think about this until I realized how fucked they were?
I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen here because I know what originally happens, but I'm not sure if that's gonna happen now.
So yeah, when they land, I'm like, oh no. Though, seriously, how lucky are they that they actually sent two people that really cared about each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's like, so, yeah, Rocket and Rhodey, you guys should just go over to
wow.
Vormir. Like, oh, kill something you love. I mean, I don't hate you.
See, is the rule that you have to kill something or you have to sacrifice something? Because if it's like
It's not an inanimate object. He specifically says a soul for a soul.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I,
not
think,
like,
no, I had that question when we first got there, and then when he said it's all for a soul, I kind of resolved it. I was like,
yeah. Because it's not, it's like, I love my cats. They're like, or, oh, my,
Cats
my
have souls.
car. I know. Well, do they? It's like, oh, my prized car.
Yeah.
Wow, that was tough.
Well, I mean, imagine Rocket like
Yeah.
getting rid of a ship and it'd be like, and then nothing.
Well, that fucking sucks.
Well,
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you got to bear in mind, people have been coming for like thousands of years to try and get the soul stone. It's that difficult combination of you have to love something truly and be willing to sacrifice it.
That's why like Thanos sacrificing Gamora.
Yep.
I was like, wait, he really cares about her.
Yep.
And I cried for that scene. I cried at Infinity War.
I hate you.
Well, because Gamora, I love Gamora, but
I know, I do too. But like,
But with just the fact that Hawkeye and Black
Natasha.
Widow, Natasha were the ones that were going, I was like, ooh.
Yeah. So you know basically that one of them is not going to make it out of the scene alive, and they know that too, and so they have a fight to kill themselves.
Yeah.
I know. I want to kill myself more. No, I need to kill myself more.
Yeah, I thought for sure, because in this moment I was like, okay, Black Widow has to live because of
She has
the
a movie
spin-off.
coming.
And I was like, it's a fucking prequel.
Yeah. So the movie definitely does a pretty good job of setting up where each of them, like, we both know who has to go.
Like, I think we're thinking of different
Each
people.
of us are thinking of different people, aren't we? Yeah. And part of you thinks that the movie might kill Clint off as like,
I thought for sure it was gonna be Hawkeye. I'm like, what the fuck does he?
yeah, as like, penance for like what he'd done. And like, because of course he'd give anything to save his family.
Yeah.
But no, it does a good job too, because you see him like jumping, and you're like, oh, there he goes. And then she comes out of fucking nowhere, tackles him, attaches him to the wall,
Yeah.
and basically kicks herself out of his grasp.
God,
and,
did they have to show her at the bottom?
I know.
Yeah,
I
they
was
gotta
like-
do it just like Gamora
I know. I was like, I understand what happened. You
in
don't have to
very
show
similar
me.
poses.
Yeah.
I know.
very-
Okay, I like.
They're not the
I
exact same
think I
pose.
almost cried at that moment. I was just like, oh.
And so Natasha sacrifices herself. Her arc from the very beginning is done. Like, she always had red on her ledger, and now she's gone
Yeah.
full circle
Oh.
and died a true hero. And Clint has the Soul Stone. And so basically now our group has gathered up 3 of the 6 stones, which means we need to go to the Battle of New York 2012 for the events of the original Avengers film.
Yep.
Yeah.
How did you do it during that, Chase?
I was fine. Okay. I
None of this had any emotional attachment for you, you bitch.
not really.
No.
I mean, I knew it happened.
Yes, but you didn't care what happened.
Debatable.
Okay, so short to long, Hulk has to go to Bleecker Street to the Sanctum in New York to get the Time Stone.
From the ancient one.
Yeah, he thinks he's getting it from Doctor Strange. Little does he know, that's a couple
Doctor
years
Strange does
too.
not really exist. I mean, he's a doctor, but
He's
not a doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was doing surgery.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
literally in the middle of
Blocks
surgery.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did love the scene where you see like Hulk go around like break stuff. And so like, look, I mean, you kind of got to masquerade as him. So he like rips off the shirt and he's like, oh, is this so like what unnecessary or superfluous? He like goes and he's like, and he like hits the car. And he like
just
kicks the thing. He's like so ashamed of himself. So embarrassed.
I know. When he gets to the sanctum though,
Yeah.
When he asks for Doctor Strange and like she knows who he is, she knows all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's awesome.
It is awesome. I did love that.
Yeah, like you're 5 years too early, and like he's down the street doing surgery, performing surgery, but then once they're like fighting, towards the end, and he reveals, or Banner reveals that he gave it up. Doctor Strange gave up the time stone to Thanos originally, and she's like, oh, what?
He's like, then, and so clearly you kind of see like the thing goes, like he wouldn't have done that unless there was a plan.
And then she's like, he's supposed to be the best of us, and I was like, she knows that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it kind of puts in perspective all the things that she did in that movie.
Yeah.
Pushing him towards like knowing she was going to die, all this other stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep, it is.
I love that.
But also this scene sets up the very important rule that like if you take a stone out of a timeline, that timeline goes to ruin without it there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the world is doomed without all the Infinity Stones. What does that say about our current timeline that has none of them now?
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't think of those ramifications either.
Yeah,
but
I think that's going to be a big deal moving forward.
See, when he originally, or she explained, if he were to take the stone and it would like create a branch in the timeline, I was like, oh, so this is how they're going to introduce multiple timelines? I was like, no, they put them.
I mean, they already have. Technically, every time they travel to a time period, they're going to a different timeline. It's not that you can't affect the past. It's that anytime you travel back in time, you're basically not going to your past. You're just going to a past. That's basically the rule the movie sets up. Then it breaks at the end of the movie, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I didn't get that from that.
Yeah, that's exactly how they explain it, though. Yeah.
I wasn't really paying attention to that, but I guess.
Good job. That's like the point of the whole scene that the Hulk's having, where it's like Back to the Future is a lie, like all this other stuff. It's not that you can't change the past. It's that any changes you make to the past don't affect you because this is an alternate timeline.
Yeah, that went over my head.
That's why that one Nebula scene.
Yeah.
Is like,
Yeah, because she does kill Nebula.
Yes.
And I was like, wait,
Yes.
that confused me. Okay,
Get it now?
I get it now.
It's also how Thanos dies twice in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So we learned that tidbit of information that is important for the end. They need to put the stones back after they're done with them,
Yes.
like right where they took them to reset the timeline. Everybody else's job is basically to get the Tesseract and Loki's scepter, which both have a stone in them. And with that, they will have all 6. So Tony kind of sneaks up to the top of then Stark Tower for the climactic moment where they all capture Loki. And he's like, okay, now I just gotta get the Tesseract and I just gotta get the staff. And they don't really explain the plan here, but it seems clear that the plan is essentially like, and I mean, you kind of see it in action before it all falls apart, but like Ant-Man goes into Tony and like causes a bit of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Just a tiny heart attack.
Yeah.
Causing him to drop the Tesseract. And also, I guess at the same time, Shield, quote unquote, Hydra got the staff. Yeah. And so Captain America goes after them. Guys? Well, I mean, they're Shield.
Yeah, it's like you can tell they're bad guys.
I did love that.
Yeah, that was a good point.
But and also there's an homage in this section that you just totally didn't get because you haven't seen fucking Winter Soldier.
Nope.
Oh, I hate you. But yeah, so heart attack. The Tesseract like is slid over to Tony, who's supposed to grab it. And he's just supposed to walk away. I'm surprised nobody notices this.
Yeah.
But poor Hulk, who couldn't take the elevator, had to take the stairs, which literally just like led to one of my biggest laughs in the entire movie. It's just like, so many stairs as he's like going down. But yeah, he just throws the fucking door to the stairwell open, hits Tony. The fucking Tesseract slides right back in front of Loki.
Yeah.
Everyone's still...
Like, no one noticed that.
Yes! And everyone... And... fucking
Loki's like looking around. He's like, what?
Like he just bends down, he grabs it, and he warps out because it's the space stone. So a form of Loki
Yeah.
off in the wind with the Tesseract.
Which is also important.
I guarantee that'll be the plot of the Disney Plus
Disney
show.
Plus show.
I
Yep.
really hope so, because
Yeah, because there is a
low-key Disney Plus show.
that other alternate timeline now
Yeah.
of Loki living
Yep.
and warping out. Where to go? What's he doing?
Yep. So he isn't there for the events of Thor: The Dark World, which kind of set him down the path of, being a hero.
That's right.
So yeah, it's going to be a very different situation. But so they fail to get the Tesseract. Meanwhile, Captain America meets up with all of the Hydra agents in the elevator.
Knowing that they're Hydra.
This scene is a huge subversion of an identically shot scene in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It's one of the best scenes in the whole movie, where he is in the elevator. He thinks they're all S.H.I.E.L.D. agents at this point. He is basically been given the order by Director Pierce. Basically, is like, we need to bring in Captain America. Like, he's going rogue and all this other stuff. And so they're riding down this elevator, and he can quickly tell because like all the people around him are like sweating and like kind of have their hands on things. And so he has this great moment. He's like, before we start, anybody who wants to get off, this is your chance.
Yeah.
And then it has just this amazing fight scene in this elevator. And it's shot identically, and it's all the exact same people in the elevator. And you're just like, oh, we're going to get this fight scene again. No. Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
Captain America just whispers to Sitwell.
I was waiting for a remake of that fight scene, and he's like, "Hail Hydra."
And you're like, that's better.
Yeah.
Secret Empire shit.
Yep. And oh man, it was so satisfying. He just walks out of there with a big old smirk on his face, like, I did it. I'm so sneaky.
And then
who does he run into?
of course, himself.
2012 Captain America.
Yeah.
Who
Who thinks he's Loki?
Yeah.
Because Loki specifically turned into Captain America earlier, just like he did in Thor: The Dark World, to make a little joke.
Yeah.
Also important to note, I kind of mentioned this because it leads to possibly my favorite joke in the whole movie, which I did not see coming.
Oh.
But Ant-Man kind of like talking about like,
Oh,
and Tony,
America?
yeah. So Tony's just like, hey, like Cap, that suit is not flattering. Your butt does not look good. And Ant-Man's like, don't say that. That's America's ass. And he was like, haha, that's a funny line. But so yeah, Cap fights past Cap. They go flying down the whole building. Eventually he's able to stop him because he's like, Bucky's still alive. And that buys enough time to like tap past Cap in the heart with the scepter, which you can do for things. You would have done this if you saw Avengers.
Well, I mean, doesn't it like?
Yeah, but he just puts him to sleep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, past Cap just like passes out. Our Cap is just like staring. And he kind of looks down. He's like, that is America's ass. And I lost it.
That was fucking
It's just because
hilarious.
it's coming out of his mouth. That's what
Yeah.
makes it so fucking good. He's checking himself out and he's like, that is a damn good ass.
That was so good.
Yep. So yeah, he heads off with the scepter, but finds out that the Tesseract is in the wind. They cannot get it anymore.
Yep. So then, what do? Try to find where else they know it is.
Yeah. So there are only enough Pym particles for all of them to travel back, travel back in time and then travel back to the present.
Yep.
So, since the Tesseract is gone, their only option is essentially try to find a place in time where they can both get Pym particles and the Tesseract at the same exact time.
Mm-hmm.
Tony's like, I think I might know where that is. And so they travel back to New Jersey in 1970, back to the S.H.I.E.L.D. base that we kind of see in the first Avenger and Winter Soldier. And they go down there and they kind of like sneak in. You have another community cameo. Doesn't matter. But they get in. Tony tracks down, because Cap tracks down the Pym particles. And Tony tracks down the Tesseract. He gets it, but who does he run into?
His papa.
His dad.
Oh, that was so sweet.
And you get this really funny and sweet scene between him and Howard Stark, where he kind of has like this reconciliation. And this was officially the moment in the movie when I'm like, Tony's dead.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like,
Really? I
yep,
didn't think
he's done.
This is his victory lap.
Uh-huh.
And so he's
It's like closing all the ties.
Yep, he has a kid now. He's lived a happy life. He's kind of satisfied himself. They kind of like fulfilled all the stuff that they set up in the first movie. I mean, like in the last movie, Infinity War, with like wanting to have a kid. And then yeah, he gets to have this conversation with his dad where he finally kind of puts all of his little like daddy issues fully aside when he gives his father advice about being a dad. And it's just this really sweet scene. And just the whole time I'm like, damn it.
It was a really touching scene. He's like bonding with his dad. I was like, oh, that's nice.
And it was just a good scene.
And then he hugs him.
And then
says,
that
"Thank
great
you."
scene is like, thank you so much for all that you've done for the world. And then Howard walks back to the car, and that's actually when you see Jarvis,
Yeah.
who is the same Jarvis from the Agent Carter TV show, which I liked. Wow. It's the first TV show exclusive character to make the jump back to a movie, and probably the only one. But yeah, and I just love how he gets in the car. He's like, he got a weird beard though.
Well, they kept referring to it like a hippie beard.
Yeah, hippie beard. It's like a beatnik beard.
You're not one of those beatniks.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention, when they first jump back to 1970, that's when we get our final Stan Lee cameo. As young
Right.
Stan Lee being a hippie.
Right.
Oh, that's gonna be his last one.
Yep, that was the last one they filmed.
Uh,
Make love, not war.
but another, back to Cap now.
Yeah.
Where is he? He goes down to find the PIM particles.
He gets them,
yeah.
and then on his way out, he's kind of been made.
Mm-hmm.
So he slips into an office. Whose office, you ask? Why, Peggy Carter herself.
Yeah.
His one true love.
That's where I was like, he's going back.
I don't know.
Yep.
Okay, I kind of could see something like in the works when he kept like looking at his locket.
Yeah,
I was like, it's obviously that's a character
Yeah.
thing. That's
But
obviously
they trick you into possibly thinking that they set it up to help him beat past Cap because it falls, and that's what kind of throws past Cap off a little bit. He's like, "Where'd you get this?" But no, the setup is to make sure you know who Peggy is.
Yeah.
And he also talks about her a little bit earlier in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so he sees her, and so this
And
whole
she
scene
doesn't see him
whatever.
at all. You can see like it shows a perspective of her from the other side, and like you can clearly see him right in front of
She's
your
reading
face.
something or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a very good agent, I guess.
Yeah,
Not her best
she's
moment.
older at this point. She's not probably on the field anymore. She's used to reading paperwork and shit. That's what she's doing. She's doing her job. Yeah. So these two scenes were the two moments where I had cemented that I knew where both these characters were probably going to go.
Yeah. It
And-
very much felt like this is their ending.
Yes, and this is their end game.
Nice.
Yeah. And so essentially they managed to get the Tesseract, and all of the 6 Infinity Stones are assembled, and they take them back to present day with fake Nebula, with evil Nebula. There as an inside lady, and they just build a new Infinity Gauntlet. I didn't know it was that easy. I was pretty certain you had to craft that in the heart of a dying star. But no, Iron Man tech's just fine too.
Yeah.
Thanos could have made it real easy. He's just like, hey, can you build me one of these?
Don't know what it's for. Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
But she, being from 2014 timeline and being loyal to Thanos still,
Yep.
basically opens the portal for him to come from 2014 with his massive fucking ship
To 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know how that worked.
Yeah,
like
that one
flying his ship through the fucking portal.
you saw it getting bigger. And
Yeah,
stuff. Like
but it's
whatever.
still,
I know
like-
that ship's huge. Whatever. That is that the thing that breaks your brain in this movie?
One of the things.
Yeah, so, but as that's happening, they've all basically like locked down the Avengers building, which is, I guess, how they didn't notice this.
Yeah.
Giant ship crashing out of their roof, whatever. And they're trying to have the argument like who snaps it, because obviously whoever snaps this is going to be like real fucked up by it.
Yeah.
And so like Thor's like, oh, I'll do it. I'm the strongest Avenger.
I'm the strongest Avenger. You're fat, bro.
Yeah, and they're like, you're not in good shape for this, man. And Hulk's like, look, it's got to be me. Like a huge chunk of this energy is gamma energy anyway. It's like I was made for this. And so he puts it on, and it's like, "Argh!" And he's like battling it. It's like really fucking hard to deal with how much power is coursing through him with all the Infinity Stones. But he's like, I got it. And he snaps.
Yep.
And there's just like a beat. And like they basically like unlock down the building. Scott walks out, and he sees like some birds flying around and stuff. And then you just hear like a buzzing from a phone. And Clint walks over to his phone, and his wife's calling. And that's basically all the movie needs to do to tell you, like,
Yeah.
it worked. they did it.
Yeah. At least to some degree, you would think. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, if
yeah.
you have to assume if they did a little bit, they did a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Yeah, yeah.
They did it all. And so you have this great scene with Scott. He's like, guys, I think we did it. Boom. And fucking the whole building gets nuked, basically.
Yeah, Thanos fucking
I thought
wrecks it. I thought they died.
Yeah.
I was certain that Scott died.
Yeah.
Because he's like right next to that missile when it blows
Yeah.
up. And his like suit, his helmet was down, and I was like, holy
Okay,
shit.
the way they made that explosion look from aerial view, I was like, oh shit, they brought everyone else back and they fucking died.
Yeah.
I was like,
thought that's
what the
what it was.
fuck? Did
would've
this movie
been-
just do this?
That would have been nuts. No.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Like, and then the other Avengers have to go back and do it.
Oh my god. No. So some fucking how. All of them are okay-ish.
Yeah, I was like,
Even the normal human beings. So yeah, they're all blown down. Like the ship's all, I mean, the whole facility's all fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
They go down, and so we have Rocket is pinned under some like rubble. Rhodey's suit's all fucked up, and Hulk is essentially holding up like the building so that it doesn't crash down on them.
yep.
Rhodey, showing how much of a hero he is, he ejects out of his suit even though he's paralyzed, crawls over and saves Rocket. But like they can't get out when the whole underground starts flooding. Hawkeye, meanwhile, lands right next to the gauntlet. How convenient.
Yep.
I like too how apparently putting on the gauntlet like overpowers you, but just grabbing it's totally fine.
Yeah, you're not wearing it, right?
Yeah, but like, what's the fucking rules on that? But he grabs it and he's like, and then you kind of hear like skittering noises. And you're like, what? He turns, he fires like his little arrow, has like this light, and you just see like a million of those fucking like Goro venoms
Yeah.
from the end of.
Goro Venom.
Somebody else made that joke. I can't remember who, but like a million of those things from the end of Infinity War, like crawling in there, and you're like, oh shit! And he just books it. I don't know how he outruns these things,
Honestly.
but he's just a normal dude, and they're like 6-armed scary monster things, but they're chasing after him in the dark. He manages to like fight him off, gets up, and he's like, holy shit! And Nebula walks up to him. He's like, oh, here, take this. And you're like, no!
I love how he literally says, "Oh, I know you,"
Yeah.
and she grabs it. She's like, okay, I'm gonna rest.
Yeah. And then she's like, I have it, father. And he's like, oh,
like,
fuck.
Yeah.
See, at this point, I wasn't sure what was going through his mind, whether it was like Nebula actually betrayed them or if it was not.
Doesn't matter
Nebula.
for long.
Yeah, not really.
Because our Nebula, rescued by past Gamora,
Yeah.
come in to save the day. So
And
this is clearly...
that was a powerful scene too, because Gamora doesn't really turn against Thanos until Guardians, the events of Guardians, right?
I mean, which is basically happening right now, but
Yeah.
like she hadn't quite turned against him yet. She
Yeah.
hadn't found her opportunity. She still though was like ready to betray him any day now.
She was like, she had her doubts.
No, like she was literally days away from betraying him. Like it wasn't like this was the thing that turns her in this timeline. It was more about
Timing.
yeah. And she basically like talks to Nebula. It's like, what were we? And she's like, I tried to kill you a bunch. And she's like, yeah, fucking course. And then she's like, but eventually like we became friends. We became sisters. And she's like, okay, let's go fucking save this bitch.
Yeah.
And so they
That's
go,
cute.
they find past Nebula, and they basically try and talk her down and keep her from like killing Clint and
Yeah.
like all them. But they can't, and so our Nebula just fucking kills her.
Yeah,
just
she
shoots her
kills
right in the
herself.
heart. I'm like, wow, you don't even give a shit.
You killed yourself.
Like you didn't even do a warning shot or
That's
anything.
that's what confused me too, because I wasn't sure about the split
timeline
timeline
thing,
thing, and I was
yeah.
like, how is she gonna what? Is she
No.
gonna disappear?
No, so yeah, she just kills past Nebula. Poor past Nebula. Never got the chance to become a hero.
Nope.
And so yeah, so clearly this is how we got Gamora back without having to actually resurrect her. So
Yeah,
moving forward, we're gonna have a Gamora that has no events of any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will. And now we have our big three, our holy trinity: Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. Thanos has landed, and he is waiting.
Ooh, this scene was awesome.
This is my favorite scene in the whole movie. And so basically the three of them were like, and Thanos is literally just waiting for him. And they're like, this is a trap, He's like, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
He's like,
Well,
cool, I'm glad we all agree.
Because he sends Nebula to find the gauntlet and bring it back to them, bring it back to him, and she asks him, well, what are you going to do? She's like, I'm going to wait.
So yeah, he's just waiting for them to show up and to think a bit about, his decisions
Yeah.
and his failings. And so, yeah, they walk out and they start talking. And he's like, thank you for teaching me the error of my ways. I thought that by destroying half of all life in the universe, everyone else would prosper. But clearly, the knowledge of what they've lost is holding them back.
Yep.
So I'm going to tear this universe down to its fucking atoms and rebuild it so that they will never know what they lost and only know what they've gained. A grateful universe. It's like, you've lost your fucking mind even more.
Well, they don't call him the Mad Titan for nothing.
I know. But like, it's like full like crossing that event horizon of just like, yeah, okay. More than ever, needs to absolutely be stopped. Nobody left in the universe like, well, I mean, Thanos kind of has a point. Thanos no longer has a point.
No, that's why I like, Infinity War Thanos is like, okay,
I mean, clearly the bad guy, but Endgame Thanos is like, oh, fuck.
Nope.
And so also, I do love how, Thor, forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Thor got Mjolnir back when he swung by Thor the Dark World.
Yeah, that's why my favorite part is this scene.
Yes. We will get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But so he basically calls down the lightning, which I guess braids his beard for him and gives his costume back. But even Fat Thor,
how to get a cape?
Even Fat Thor kind of looks badass at this point.
He actually does.
And he's dual-wielding Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. And you're like, this is rad.
I'm like, this is why he took it.
Yeah. Dope. And so, and they basically battle Thanos, the three of them. And it doesn't go super great.
Nope.
Thanos is kicking their ass still. A little bit of questions here because, like, I don't know.
He breaks
Iron
Captain
Man,
America's shield?
Well, no, that doesn't happen yet. That happens
Later.
after the thing you love.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
So Iron Man in Infinity War puts up a really good fight against Thanos with like 4 of the 6 Infinity Stones. But in this movie, when Thanos has no Infinity Stones, apparently stands no goddamn chance.
Yeah.
Kind of confusing.
It's because at that point Thanos was a little bit older, like a
little bit younger.
Older. Well, at this point he's a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And he's more more pep in him.
Yeah, apparently got more pep in the step. But whatever. Fact remains, we got to have our badass fight. So he basically like beats down Captain America, knocks out Iron Man, and is battling Thor. Mjolnir gets like tossed off to the side. So does Stormbreaker. Thor tries to call back Stormbreaker. Thanos just catches it. And like, I was sitting next to some people who were like, wait, how can he hold Stormbreaker? Stormbreaker was never given the same curse that Mjolnir was. You don't have to be worthy to hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he just kind of like starts shoving the axe in unknowingly, like trying to call back what Thor did to future him in the end of Infinity War, like stabbing the axe into his chest.
Yeah.
And then you see Mjolnir start lifting. And
I was like, oh, yes.
And I knew this moment was coming. This happens in the comics multiple times, and they kind of set it up in a couple other movies. And fucking Mjolnir just whams Thanos right in the back of the head, flies back into Captain America's hand.
Yeah. Oh my God. That
And
was fucking
this
badass.
moment was the one time in the movie when I openly cheered. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. I was like, oh, he's fucking worthy now.
Yep. And so he beats the shit out of him. He's like throwing both. It's like, you got Captain Magnet hands over here. He's like got 2 weapons that are just like jumping back to his hands. He hits his shield with the hammer, causing like a shockwave. It knocks back Thanos. He's beating him up. He's calling lightning. He's doing all this.
And
awesome
I was like,
shit.
oh shit, he can call lightning too.
Yeah.
That's
He,
the power
whoever
of
can
Mjolnir.
wield this, has the power of Thor.
And that was like,
Oh, it's so fucking satisfying. But you can only do it for so long. Thanos eventually gets the upper hand back on him, destroys Cap's shield.
yeah. I was like, what the fuck is his sword made out of?
Something stronger than vibranium.
Yeah, apparently.
And Cap is on the ropes. And his arm is all fucked up. He's been stabbed through the leg. And Thanos' army starts like descending and marching. And everyone else is out for the count. And you just have Captain America all by himself against all of Thanos' hordes and Thanos himself. And what does he do? He just tightens his fucking shield up. He just gets, and he's like, okay, let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
And then what do you hear? A little call through the intercom. It's like, Cap,
Yeah.
copy Cap.
This whole time, I was wondering,
Yep.
where the fuck is everyone else if it was resolved?
It was only a matter of time. It's
Yeah.
like, Cap, on your left. Which, again, you wouldn't get the significance of because you haven't seen Winter Soldier.
No. I assumed.
And so
It's not the same.
it's not the same, man.
You're not invested the same
All
way.
of these moments don't mean the same to you as they do to me. And so a freaking sling ring portal opens up and out walks Black Panther and his whole posse. And then fucking Sam Wilson flies in, and then just all the portals open up.
Yeah, I was like, how many fucking people can do these stinging portals?
All of the wizards.
Yeah, I do that now. But I was like, they're wizards.
They're wizards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was sorcerers, whatever. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know they were actually called wizards.
they're called
Might be
sorcerers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Because I was like, that's the.
I was like, how many fucking people are? Because like they only show Doctor Strange and what's his name? Wong. Benedict Wong. Benedict Wong playing Wong.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like in Infinity War. That's like really the only people that are defending the Sanctum. I totally forgot there was more.
Yeah, but no, every one of them has access to a sling ring.
Yeah.
And so yeah, everyone comes in.
Start piling in armies, and I'm like, oh, this is Infinity War Part 2.
Literally every character
Yep.
that you know
That's still alive
and that can fight is here.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Even
is
Pepper.
even
That was
Pepper
badass.
in the rescue armor. It's so freaking cool.
I like
And-
that they brought her back.
Yep.
To do that, like they.
Yeah, and they set it up too with like
she made her.
with Morgan, like, oh, where'd you get this? Oh,
Yeah.
that's an anniversary gift from mommy.
Yep.
She doesn't like any of the stuff I buy her. But yeah, literally all of our heroes come in behind Cap. And then this is the time too when like Ant-Man bursts out of the thing, having saved everybody else that was
He's
still in the
huge.
building. And
Okay, that also like in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and
Yeah.
in here he gets huge, but it's in Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's like what's his name's character? Lawrence Fishburne's character in Ant-Man and the Wasp was like, oh, you must have got exhausted because like being that big will exhaust you, and like he falls asleep in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
But like, it had no effect on him.
it didn't happen very long.
Even still, like even if it was like for like a short duration of time, it will.
I'd say it's about the same amount of time for Civil War, probably.
Then you slept for 3 days after that.
Yeah, well, we don't see what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so everyone's here. Literally everybody you've ever cared about in these fucking movies, except for like Happy Hogan, is here fighting.
It was pretty badass.
It was a lot though.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's this huge battle going on. They're smart. They know what they're doing because when you start getting that much action going on in one place, it can just kind of become like too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pure chaos. So they gave you a through line to follow for the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, Cap says
Avengers Assemble, which is just so satisfying. But through the through line of this battle, the thing they primarily are focusing on is trying to get the gauntlet back into the past and away from Thanos.
Yep.
So that he can't do anything with it. So first you have Hawkeye with it running. Eventually it gets passed on to Black Panther, who eventually passes it off to Spider-Man.
Yep.
And you get some great shit with Spider-Man, like trying to evade a bunch of people. You get to see him finally use instant kill mode.
That's fucking
dope. But you also see him ride a Pegasus, which I guess we never knew we needed to see, but now I can
Valkyrie.
die happy.
Yeah. Well, when setting up that plan, Ant-Man and the Wasp are like on comm with. Okay, that was the thing for me. It was like, how do they all have comms?
Yeah.
Like they're all fucking.
Also, how
they
are
can
they
all talk to each
on
other.
the same channel?
Yeah.
Look,
Connected?
At all times.
look. There are
The
plenty.
whole movie, I was like, what the fuck?
There are plenty of movies. There are plenty of moments in this movie where if you think about it for like 5 seconds, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
That is definitely one of them. But is that really going to be the
See,
problem here?
Something that I liked after having recently watched Ant-Man and the Wasp was like when she comes back out and she's talking on the comm, she's like, okay, Cap. And she calls him Cap and looks at Scott and she's like, because
She made fun of him.
yeah,
and-
she made fun of
Yeah.
him for calling him Cap. Like, Cap, you call him Cap? It's like, yeah, Avengers, we call him Cap. That was satisfying for me.
See, it's moments like that. But for all the other movies you didn't see.
I know.
So everybody fights. And so they're setting up the time machine. And just as things are looking good, and you finally have Scarlet Witch like come after Thanos. And she's like, you took everything from me. And Thanos like, I don't know who you are. And you're like, yeah, I guess you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You will. Just like wrecks his shit.
Well, she's like really powerful, but
Yes.
her powers are really downplayed in the movies.
Well, the problem is she's no help in Infinity War because her whole part of the plan in the final battle, of that movie, was trying to destroy the Vision, which is taking all of her powers. That's why she wasn't a part of the fight against Thanos. Had they just done that, they might have won. Considering she almost takes him on single-handedly.
Yeah.
And when it looks like he's like, she's like ripping off all his armor, like wrecking up his shit. And he's like, fucking fire, like a bombard. And it's like, well, our guys, I don't care, man. And just, oh man, the entire battlefield just bombarded by a ship. Spider-Man gets like knocked away.
Yeah.
He's like scrambling for the gauntlet. Everybody's like, oh shit, what are we going to do? And all of a sudden the ship turns its cannons.
It has this fucking Thor moment in Infinity War. When
Yeah.
Thor comes down.
Yep.
Except this time.
So it's firing at something. It's like, what are they shooting at? And then a fucking beam of light. And you're like, oh, it's Captain Marvel.
Yep. Comes in, wrecks shit.
Destroys Thanos' ship, basically single-handedly.
Yeah.
Comes in and they're like, hey, we need an assist here. And so she like goes over to Spider-Man and he's like, hi, I'm Peter Parker. She's like, hey, Peter Parker, you got something for me?
Yeah, that was a really cute scene.
And she grabs the gauntlet and then the whole army's coming and he's like, how are you going to get through that? Like all by yourself. And then you have an even more. So like there's that moment in Infinity War where like all of our female heroes fight the one female bad guy.
Yep.
And they were like,
let's double down on that.
let's just go all out with that scene. And so every fucking female character shows up.
Every single one.
That was great.
And just them to fight.
Yeah. I was
and
like,
here's another moment where you're like, well, how? I mean, it's like a chaotic battle. Like,
yeah,
were they waiting
all,
for
like,
this chance?
Assemble? Like, like A-team, assemble.
I'm trying to, I want to imagine off screen, Thor's like heading over there, like, no, this is their moment.
Yeah.
Like, because none of the guys show up to help.
No. And I'm like, and in thinking about it, she definitely could have single-handedly fucking blown through everybody. Totally.
But that's not as satisfying.
No.
Because she basically does. Like, they help a little, and then she just shoots ahead.
Yeah, it was like, okay, that's unnecessary but cool.
Yeah, and she is flying right towards the van, and Thanos realizes what's going on and just destroys the van. You're like, oh, good job, guys.
Great.
So I'm glad that whole thing was for naught. She gets blown back. She drops the gauntlet. Thanos runs for the gauntlet. Tony tackles Thanos. They're fighting. Can't hold him back. Thanos puts the gauntlet on. He now has the fucking Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones on it again.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Parallel.
He's about to snap. Captain Marvel gets over there. He's like prying his fucking fingers open. Just overpowering him completely. He headbutts her.
This part was cool, and I'm surprised he didn't do that at all in Infinity War. It was like he just takes the Power Stone off his gauntlet, puts it in the other hand.
First you have her badass moment where he tries to headbutt her and it does nothing.
Oh yeah. That was pretty badass.
But yeah, and just as he's basically about to get the glove ripped off, he rips off the Power Stone and just fucking one punches her. She just goes flying. Last time we see her in the movie, basically, until like the funeral scene.
Yep.
I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, and he gets the gauntlet. He's about to snap, and like Tony is like lying on the ground. He looks over at Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is like, he puts his finger up. He's like, one. And that's when you're like, this is the one in fucking like 14 million chance. Which earlier they had basically like, he ran over to Doctor Strange like, is this the one? And Doctor Strange is like, look, if I tell you, it won't be.
Was that his only line in the movie?
No.
What else is I can't remember a single.
Oh shit, maybe that is.
It might be.
That's a good point.
Because until you said that, I was like, does he have any lines in this movie?
Yes.
I think if he says anything else, it's like not.
Yeah, it's inconsequential.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically is like, it won't be if I tell you it won't be. Because you realize like, yeah, Tony has to do what he's about to do and it has to be like his decision in the moment.
Yeah.
If he has to think about this, he may not make that choice. Yeah. And so Doctor Strange's like the one. And Tony's like, shit. And so like, he runs over and he grabs onto the gauntlet trying to stop him. And in the chaos of this, like, they're wrestling. He has his hands on the gauntlet and then he's knocked back and Thanos is like, I am inevitable. And he snaps. Nothing happens. And he looks and all the stones are gone.
Yeah. I'm like, how the fuck did he just grab
this? Is Iron Man nanotech on his hand. So I guess
Yeah.
he just like moved them.
Yeah. But then like, we're talking about making the gauntlet. It's like, oh, you can just make a gauntlet. And then they just form to his hand. I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
So we pan over. He's like, I am inevitable. Nothing. And then you have Tony. You see, his hand is just turning into another Infinity Gauntlet. All the stones are gathering on. I mean, we saw Hulk barely handle this.
Yeah.
Tony takes it like a champ for like this moment. I was like, is he even going to be able to snap? Doesn't matter. And he gets his great line. I am Iron Man.
I was like, what is he going to say?
Snap.
That was my favorite.
Oh, so fucking satisfying. And he snaps and he dusts all of Thanos' army.
Yeah.
Now, I'm impressed at his wherewithal and forethought of how he clearly thought this wish out, because clearly he didn't kill Gamora, Which, depending on how you phrase that, very easily could have happened.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure because like it was taking a long time for Thanos to dust. I'm like,
It's
did
just
he?
for satisfying.
Yeah, I was like, did he choose not to dust Thanos just so that he can watch his army? And then, like,
I kind of wish that would have happened.
Yeah, I'm like, but then he still saw them dust anyway, and he was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and he realized he'd failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Thanos is dusted. Everything's done. But yeah, Tony, just a normal human being, couldn't really take the power of the Infinity Stones, and he just kind of like goes down.
Should have been Star-Lord.
He's not a god anymore.
Apparently not.
And so first you have Rhodey head over to him, like try and like set him down. He's like, and then Peter run up. He's like, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark.
Oh, this moment.
Oh wait, I think we kind of missed one other.
Oh yeah, the hug, the hug.
The before they start battle.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because I think that's important because it was like Tony's final redemption where he's like, okay, I brought the kid back.
Because like that was
I'm
like
done.
a big factor of why he even
Yeah.
chose to. Like he looked and like saw a picture of
he saw
Peter
the
Parker
picture,
and he's like,
and I think that was like
Yeah, losing the kid. Because also when he first gets back in the very beginning of the movie, his first line is basically like, I lost the kid.
yeah.
So yeah,
That weighs on him heavy.
like that. That I think was his reason. Like
it's definitely a huge part of
it's
it.
like
And so yeah, he a lot of what he did was to save Spider-Man. And so yeah, when right before the fight starts, like Peter runs over to him and is like, oh, this is so crazy.
Oh, no.
So like, we're just like, oh man, it's all the stuff going on. Doctor Strange said it's been like 5 years, and then we like jump through a portal and I'm here. And then Tony hugs him. And it harkening back to the scene in Spider-Man Homecoming where he thinks he's getting a hug, but he's like, no, I'm just opening the door. I'm not hugging. We're not there yet. We're there now.
Oh, that was so sad.
I know. And so yeah, so he comes over, he's like, Mr. Stark, we did it, Mr. Stark. And I'm here. You can say something. And like he can't even talk.
Yeah.
And then he's like getting all upset, and Pepper pulls Peter off, and he's just crying. And you're just like, "Fuck, man, Tom Holland, you're a good actor."
Yeah.
And she comes over, and Tony gets his one line left in the movie. Is Pepper? It's like the only thing left he can say. Is the woman he loves, who he's staring in the face of, and she goes, "We're gonna be okay. Like, you can rest now."
Mm-hmm.
Like knowing that it's like not like there's nothing better she could say to him as he like passed on, and she like holds him and he dies, and that is the end of Iron Man.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the point where I stop crying and basically don't stop for the end of until the movie's over. Yeah, it's a powerful emotional moment. Yeah, it's crazy to think like we started this whole adventure 11 years ago because he declared to the world that he was Iron Man.
Yep.
And what was basically his last action was declaring that one more time to the to the godly creature that was trying to destroy us. Man, yeah. I don't think there was a better sacrifice that could have been done in this movie.
Yeah, it's a very emotional movie.
Yeah.
A better sacrifice? Black Widow? No.
Look, I am sad about Black Widow's sacrifice, but I mean, you can't pretend that like she's on the same level with fucking Iron Man.
It
I don't
doesn't
care about
have
Iron
the
Man that
same
much.
weight as Iron Man.
It doesn't. But I mean, it's still a powerful moment in the movie. It still hits you right in the heart.
Yep.
But
Because he has arguably the most to lose out of who would have taken it, and
Yeah.
yep, he did get to live some of the best years of his life, I'm imagining. He got to have his daughter. But yeah, he gave it all away to save the world. The one thing that he did not want to do was die, but he was still willing to do it. That hero's journey. He is not the man we met before he went into that cave. Mm-hmm. And this, I mean, talk about a character arc over like 11 years and like 9 movies.
jeez.
And does it go straight from the battle to the funeral?
I feel like there's something in between, but I can't think of it.
Must not be that important.
I think there's like a pause on the battlefield, but I don't think there's.
But yeah.
Oh no! Okay. Yeah. So there's sort of like there's that they kind of go over the wreckage, I think, and then you hear Tony Stark's voice.
That's right. So they play his recording that he recorded before
Right.
the battle. Basically, his last
before
little...
before they start time traveling.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, he left a little message with the understanding that he might not survive this. He's like, look, what we're doing here is fucking crazy. Like, probably might not come back from this. There's decent odds. So hopefully you're playing this like as in celebration.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like walks up to the camera and he just happens to look exactly where his daughter's sitting.
Yeah, I was like, okay, does he know?
And
That
it's
was
like,
a little creepy though.
I love you 3000. And Waterworks. Still don't know how you didn't cry watching this fucking movie.
Say that.
Yeah. And so we have our funeral. And they basically like
Proof that Iron Man has, that Tony Stark has a heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
His very first arc reactor that she pulled out in the first movie, put in that little plaque, was basically set in the middle of this arrangement for him, and it pans across basically every character ever.
Yeah.
And
Every character is still
that's
still
left.
alive.
yes, obviously. And it just pans basically across all of our Avengers, all of their loved ones, basically everybody that Tony ever touched, including a seemingly random teenage boy in the background. Did you know who that was?
No, I didn't.
That's
To be fair, I didn't know either.
I mean, have you seen Iron Man 3? You haven't, right?
No.
There's a young boy in Iron Man 3 that like Tony kind of like partners up with. It's him.
I assumed it was someone important. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know who that is.
I
It's
just I
weird.
totally forgot.
Yeah, like Harvey Keener or something. I can't remember the character's name. But
Harvey
yeah,
Dent?
No.
Wrong universe.
Wrong universe. Absolutely not correct in any way. And then eventually gets up and it pans over Captain Marvel. And then Nick Fury, who shows up just for that, has no lines in this movie at all.
Yep, that's his only appearance.
Yep. And then we just basically get our little closing shots and like setting up a couple other things. You have a scene with Happy and Morgan.
Cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I was like, "You hungry? What do you want? A cheeseburger?" And they're like, "Your dad loved cheeseburgers."
That was the first thing he said to him when he came back.
Yep, I want a cheeseburger.
Yeah, Iron Man 1.
Yep, I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want, kid. We have a scene with Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch on the side of the river.
Yeah.
Basically, just talking about Nat
Natasha and Vision.
and then Vision too. Basically, like I hope that they know, like she knows that it worked, and Scarlet Witch like they both do. And then we pan off to, I think there's got to be something, but basically like the next major scene is Hulk and Captain America and Bucky and Sam. They're all just kind of standing there and like, look, we got to take all the stuff back. We got to put the stones back.
Right.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Guardians.
Is that...
Oh, crap. The Guardian scene. You're right.
Yeah,
I knew there was
it's
something in
Guardians.
between. It's Guardians next.
Well, before Guardians is New Asgard.
Yes. I
Oh, yeah,
consider that
okay.
part of that.
Yeah.
I thought that all flows.
Because they go back
It
to
does.
New Asgard and
Thor.
Valkyrie was like the people need a leader, right? Like you need to basically be their leader again. And Thor's like, no, I'm past that. Basically, like that's you. Like you did a better job when like during the whole 5 years. Like that's why in the beginning when like she's shown as basically running the place because she has been, and Thor basically names her the new king.
Yep. It's a satisfying moment. And you're like, well, what's Thor going to do now?
Yeah.
And so he, I guess he's joining the Guardians.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The Asgardians of the galaxy.
Is there a reason? Did he say a reason, or he just like, oh fuck it?
I mean, why not,
Just
right?
wanna
He's
leave.
buddies with Rocket and Tree now, so
Yeah, I mean, he has to make sure who's the captain. Star-Lord is the captain.
Yeah, so they have that little scene where it's just like, hey, get along, you two. And it's like, everyone know who's the captain here. Like, yes. Yeah. Yes. His delivery on that whole section is
Me, of course,
it's
you.
you. Of course. You're just like,
That's great.
thank you, Chris Hemsworth, for being
Yeah.
an amazing comedic actor.
I love the change they allowed Thor to have because he was so serious.
I think
then he turned into a major comedic character.
I mean, it's pretty clear that they hired him because he was hunky and buff, and then like slowly realized that he's like the funniest fucking actor on earth. Like, well, we're wasting
Funniest Avenger.
him. And so like, well, we're wasting him if we don't use this.
Yeah.
I want Fat Thor pop. Funko Pop.
You know it's there.
Yeah, it's
it's
coming.
out. I'm sure it's already out.
I don't know.
No, I know they couldn't actually literally have it out yet. It's a huge spoiler for
Yeah.
like a randomly huge twist in the movie,
Yeah.
but like it'll be here soon. But
And
yeah,
so they set off to find. You can see Star-Lord's looking.
He's looking for Gamora.
Looking for Gamora. And they don't show old Gamora. I don't think
what do you mean?
in that scene, do they? like the Gamora from 2014 or 2012 that came back.
Oh no,
2014.
yeah, she's just gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't address what happened to her.
And
So they're still looking for their current Gamora.
No, I think
Like,
he's looking for past Gamora
yeah,
because
it's
in the middle of the
confusing.
battle he does run into old Gamora. Forgot about this scene too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he runs into past Gamora and he's like,
this guy?
and so he comes up and she kicks him twice in the
Don't
crotch.
touch me.
Yeah, she's like, don't touch me. He kicks him twice in the crotch. He's like, the first time you missed, but the second time you got both of them. And so Nebula walks up and she's like, this one? It's like, it was either this or a tree. Yeah, so I guess Nebula kind of explained the situation to Gamora. Gamora's off in the wind.
Bro, yeah.
And so Peter's looking for her. And that's probably going to be the Gamora we're going to be dealing with in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember them in an interview saying that she's a major point of Guardians 3.
They did.
They-
I totally
they
didn't
literally-
understand
yeah.
why.
They
I
basically
think they phrased it in such a way that you thought maybe it could just be like her death being a central fact.
I
but, like,
never assumed it was the death because the actress herself,
Zoe Saldana.
yeah, she said she was coming back for 3.
that seems like a poor decision.
Yeah, no, because and it wasn't just her. I think there was one other interview I saw where like they did spoil that she was coming back.
Yeah.
I did not see these
Yeah,
interviews.
I heard about
Okay.
that.
But yeah,
I'm surprised anyone let anybody talk about anything happening after this fucking movie.
Yeah.
But
this was
Well, I mean,
after
Spider-Man.
Infinity
they didn't have
War.
control over that. That's Sony.
Yeah.
I have questions about that too. But
Also, so they go. Okay, so this is 5 years after it.
okay, so essentially what the whole thing with the snap was is that so that they didn't change anything and they didn't fuck up time too much. Basically, they just everything was exactly the way it was, except everybody was brought back right in that second, right where they had been when they dusted.
Okay,
And so now you got some
But it's
weird.
5 years later.
But it's 5 years
But
later.
still-
Yeah.
Why
But
are
not
they
for
still
them.
in high school?
Okay, no, I have an answer to that.
Okay.
It's just really convenient and weird.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Because he goes back to high school.
yes, he does. You
I
have
guess
to
finish high
assume
school.
that by some crazy random chance,
Oh my gosh.
all of Peter's classmates that
gosh.
were important also got dusted
Yeah.
because they all are the same age. In
MJ
Yeah.
was Ned? Is that his name? I don't remember. His friend's
yeah,
name.
but the fact is, yeah, all of them
All of
clearly
those
had to have
important
gotten
characters.
dusted.
Yeah.
So they're all still the same age.
But it's like his friend, when he sees him, it's like the assumption.
Cries.
Yeah, he cries at the assumption that Peter got dusted, but he did not.
no, I promise you that's not what happened. They're hug, they embrace, they like have their handshake.
Well,
and
because he
embrace.
just like
starts crying
yeah, he sees
before
him. He's
they
like
Because look, here's the deal.
they don't know.
They know because I guarantee you've been told by your fucking family that you've been dead and gone for fucking years. Imagine how terrible your life could be. You're just like living a great life, and then like next thing you know, like your wife's like, "You've been gone for 5 years. I grieved. I moved on. I'm married. I have a kid."
Like wait, I was just like a second ago.
Like I literally was just here. It's like, no, you were gone for 5 years, man.
some Twilight Zone shit.
Yeah, like imagine how fucked up so many people's relationships are now. Like, oh man, like yeah, like so many of your friends are like 5 years older than you. Like you have like weird, awkward situations where like I have a twin brother. I'm 5 years older than him now because he was dusted. Now he's back.
That's
Like,
weird.
older siblings could be younger
A
siblings
lot
now.
of ramifications here.
Yeah, and do they touch on that in future movies? Probably not that
Nope,
much.
probably just gonna glance past it.
Lance Bassett, what?
But yeah, so then they have to
They have to
go
put all
back,
the stones back.
put the stones back, so they choose Cap to do it.
This is the biggest problem of the entire movie, in my opinion.
It is a big problem.
For there was an easy way to fix it, and they didn't do it, and it poses a lot of questions. But yeah, so he has this little thing where he's he's like, I'm just gonna jump, he's gonna jump back, he's gonna put them all back, and then he'll be back in 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
And like it doesn't matter how long he's gone, he'll be back in 5 seconds. And so he kind of is like walks over to Sam. He's like, hey, have this great little thing, and then he walks over to Bucky, and he's like, I'm gonna miss you, man. And you're like,
Did you say that?
yes.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
a moment.
They completely
I did not.
spoil that this is. He's like, I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
miss you,
didn't-
man. And then
I pay attention
Did
to
he
that.
say, "I'm gonna miss you, man"?
yeah, he said, I'm gonna miss
It
you.
was something.
No,
yeah,
it's I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
like, I don't say that. And so clearly he has told Bucky his plan, but he has not told Sam. A little rude.
Considering.
I mean, Bucky's his real best friend. So Sam's just his replacement best friend while Bucky wasn't around.
And his replacement.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm gonna miss you. And he's walking away. He's like, don't do anything stupid. It's like, you're taking all this stupid with you, which is a callback to the original Captain America, except they each had each other's lines in that.
Yeah. That's like the one thing I remembered.
I was like,
Captain
oh, that's a great line.
America.
I did love that line even in the original Captain America.
I think that's why I remembered it.
Don't do anything stupid without me. It's like, I can't. You're taking all this stupid with you. But yeah, and so he warps back to the past and is like, gone. Okay, returning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nothing. He's not back.
Where is he?
Yeah, so you see Bucky looking over like towards the lake, and it pans over, and you see like a guy sitting on a bench. And so Sam heads over there, and lo and behold, old man Captain America.
Yeah.
And
so he's just been sitting there, the whole time.
He knew when to. Yeah, I know. Like nobody noticed.
Nobody noticed him walk up.
No, I mean, just an old man sitting on a bench and
trespassing on Iron Man's property.
Whatever. Who isn't at this point? Iron Man's not there to give people permission.
I guess. But like,
I know.
all of these superheroes are there.
They didn't notice an old man
just chilling.
I'm assuming Shield is there too.
Look, if Shield doesn't exist anymore.
Well, yeah.
Shield's been gone for a long time, Chase.
That makes sense.
In a movie you didn't watch.
Yeah, a long time.
That was early phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically Cap reveals that, screw all this stuff. Like, I've been through enough. And so when jumping back in time, he's like, hey, I might as well live that life I never got to live.
Mm-hmm. Just stay there.
And so he stayed. And so, he's done his part. He's done his thing. And so he has his shield. And he passes it to Sam. He's like, you're Captain America now. and when he passes it over, you can see that he has a wedding ring on.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can tell me about the lucky lady? He's like,
no,
I'm not. As if any freaking audience member had any doubt on who it was.
Yeah.
And there's like this fun little moment where like Sam's holding the shit. And he like looks back at Bucky, and Bucky's like, yeah. They're having that little moment where it's like, I know everybody knows that it could also have been me. I give you permission.
Well, honestly, like Falcon's character,
I know. I would have preferred if it was Bucky.
Yeah. So yeah, originally in the comics, it was Bucky who took over as Captain America after Steve Rogers' retirement, and then there was
retirement, death, murder,
laid to rest retirement, and then in the there's like a new 2014, I believe it was, comics when Falcon was his successor, and then there is the 2014 where Falcon is the one that takes over for Captain America. And that's seemingly where this is going. What interests me also is that there's that TV, the Disney Plus with Winter Soldier and Falcon. Yeah. But it's like advertised that Winter Soldier and Falcon. It has to be after Endgame.
I guarantee it is.
Yeah. Well, when else would it have
Falcon is Captain America?
Now, there are a couple different ways they could go with that. Yeah. I mean, obviously they wanted to confirm the actors,
but it's it's been advertised again as Falcon and Winter Soldier. Why not?
Yes. Okay. You want to know why? Because what are they going to say? Like Chris Evans going on and on and on about how he's like retiring the character, and then they announce a TV show. It's like fucking Winter Soldier and Captain America.
No, but like
starring fucking starring Anthony Mackie.
You say Sam. What was his last name? Sam. Wilson.
Yeah, starring Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. Like, I wonder if that would be a huge fucking spoiler.
Why don't they just call it like Bucky and Sam Wilson? Like, they don't have to. It's not like they don't have
I think
title,
they just because
like,
that would be
advertised it that way. That would have made sense.
Because they're trying to deceive you, Chase.
They're deceptive.
Like, I don't know why you're so fucking hung up on this.
I don't like being lied to.
I thought the show was going to be something a little bit different, but it still might be Winter Soldier and Falcon. Mm-hmm. And it could just be throughout that. I think it's like a 6-episode like short series. It could just be about him finally feeling comfortable taking on the Captain America mantle.
That's true too, yeah.
And like Bucky helping him out and guiding him there. I thought the show was going to be about both of them competing to like see who was actually going to be the true successor. Mm-hmm. It still might be that because they might like totally like upend this moment and have it be like, oh, Sam made it, but then like throughout the course of the show, they prove that like Bucky would be the more superior person because you have Captain America.
Oh, I actually have to prove that.
Racist.
What? Sam Wilson's character as Falcon is not that strong.
I like him,
like
but
the
I don't think
most
he's
I
in a
like
movie.
him is an Ant-Man.
I like him in Winter Soldier, the movie you haven't seen that introduces
he's good in Winter
him.
Soldier,
That's true,
and then
that's
like
true.
the rest, they kind of just they're like, oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Oh no, Winter Soldier, he was pretty good.
Yeah. And then there's other things to think about, like
There was a lot
Black
of
Widow's Black Widow's spinoff. If I mean, obviously it has to be a prequel at this point. So that's
Yes.
yeah.
setup.
And
No,
then,
she's magically gonna come back to life.
well, and
We're gonna go back in time, pull her out of one of the timelines, and just keep her there.
So in this movie, there were 2 irrevocable deaths, right? There was Black Widow and
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Well, okay. One could argue. Couldn't somebody else have just fucking snapped the thing and brought him back?
Wait, who? Iron Man? Well,
Yeah. Why not?
well, they've shown that like you can snap to bring back people that have already been snapped away, but not necessarily brought back to life if they're dead.
I
dead.
guarantee you can use these things to bring somebody back
That's
to fucking
necromancy.
life.
That is.
They're all dead. They got snapped away and turned to dust.
Well, they're in the soul
How is
realm.
that different? Look, that is like a theory that people are holding on to that has in no way been proven by the movies.
Hasn't been proven wrong either.
That is not an argument.
But and then in Infinity War there were 3, right? Vision. Well, actually, that's another thing because Vision and
WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision. That's gonna
It's supposed to be set in the 1950s too.
That's confusing.
Yep.
I don't know what the fuck they're going.
Yep,
with
it
that.
is.
Wait, well, she's supposed to be in.
And he.
Okay, but
Yeah.
She's the one that you're worried about. 1950?
yeah, because she's like, when did whatever?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Like, they're both. That doesn't make sense.
It's a show starring the both of them set in the 50s.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Don't fucking know.
Time travel again.
Again.
But
'cause-
then they're gonna have to get Vision before he died. I'm confused. I don't know.
He
But yeah,
didn't exist
that's technically
before.
an irrevocable death, unless you can like go back before he died. That's
Yeah.
the thing. But I mean, he died. Like his character died.
yes.
And then
I mean, Loki died, but we're just
yeah,
gonna follow a
Loki
different Loki.
died. Exactly. We're gonna follow a different Loki. So Loki died, and then
That's gonna be
Gamora
fun.
died. Those are like deaths, but then like not really, quote unquote.
Yeah, because anybody
killed.
killed to get the Soul Stone, it has shown that they are permanently dead, quote unquote. Because like Hulk mentions that he tried to bring her back, he tried to bring Natasha back when he snapped, and it didn't work.
Yeah. At least that way.
Unless it did and she's still there.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
doubt it, yeah.
I doubt it too, but
The movie wouldn't have probably had that line otherwise.
yeah.
Yeah, and that also sets up like Gamora is not able to.
So, do you ever
in that
think?
regard?
Yeah, do you ever think about though, like I wish we had a whole TV show following the wacky misadventures of Cap trying to put all the Infinity Stones back,
Yeah.
because you got
Or just like a short thing.
yeah,
Because
because
this
like
movie is a heist movie, right? That's what it is.
kind of well, the second act is
Yeah. His would be like a reverse heist, trying to put it back in place.
because like he's got to sneak up on Natalie Portman again and re-inject her with the thing that was killing her.
Oh yeah.
He's got to go back to Vormir and just have a really awkward conversation with Red Skull, who he hasn't seen since fucking World War II.
True.
He's got to just he's like, here's this back. I didn't know you were here.
That's what I was wondering if they were gonna bring that up because like they kind of mentioned like this guy with the red skull, or like the
Yeah, I was
redhead.
thinking maybe
I'm
like, wait,
oh,
Red Skull.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna like figure it out, but like they never addressed it. But then he still had to give it back to him. So
Yeah, I know. Or maybe he's gone. I don't know. Like, because the question really comes down to like the Red Skull's job was like to watch over the Soul Stone. Once it's gone, what's keeping him there?
But the same thing with like the alternate time. It's like
Yeah, I know, but like in the alternate timeline, nobody had gotten it up to that point. It's entirely possible that he just,
well, he's a guide, right? Like
Yes, he's a
but
guide to the Soul Stone.
They don't necessarily need him to get the Soul Stone if they figure it out themselves.
yes, but I'm just saying, like, who's to say he's still there when he goes back to put it back?
That's a good point.
I don't know.
But then there would just be the Soul Stone there, and no one would know how to get it.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. So what were all of the spinoffs? It was WandaVision, Loki,
Bucky and
Falcon, and then Black Widow. Was all of them?
Black Widow's a movie.
Yeah,
was a movie, yeah,
that's a movie.
Yeah.
I think those are the 3 shows that they
Okay.
announced.
Yeah. Well, I mean the
Oh, and then the Marvel What If, which is
Right.
which is an animated series.
right.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. So I mean, going forward, in terms of like movies, because I know we're getting Ant-Man 3, Guardians 3.
That hasn't been confirmed.
Well,
Okay, here's the movies that
Likely.
we can. I don't know. Those movies do not make a lot of money.
Funny. I like those
What
movies.
ones?
Ant-Man.
Oh,
I think they might just try and use Scott as a supporting character in other people's movies.
It's possible too.
yeah. I like him as a supporting.
I
I
do
liked
too.
him more as a supporting character.
He was great in this movie.
Yeah.
That's America's ass.
Oh man, but because he just works so well bouncing off all the other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like him as like in his own
I
way.
like
I still really like him in his own movies.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. The hope that they were going for the longest time.
You said hope. I'm like, I like him with hope.
The hope they were going for the longest time, I think, was because the original Ant-Man did not do very well. But then they had him in Civil War, and everybody liked him in Civil War for his little stint in that. And so I think they were hoping that Ant-Man 2 would do a lot better. It didn't.
Yeah.
And that was like immediately following like their what at the time was their biggest movie ever. So you're like, if that didn't help,
Yeah.
maybe we should just move on. But movies that we're all but confirmed to be getting, you got Doctor Strange 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3,
Black Panther 2.
Black Panther 2, definitely. It would be
God.
insane
Black
not
Widow.
to. The Black Widow standalone movie. There's an Eternals movie that they're working on.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's like another guy. It's an Asian name, but I don't
Oh,
know.
right,
Yeah.
right, right.
It's like
I don't want to say it because it's going to be really racist of me just to make like it's like Shang-Chi or something
Yeah,
like that.
I think that's right. That sounds right. But then,
Something like
it's
again.
not- if it's
so
not
did
right, then
Jan
it sounds
Krieg.
oh, that's different. That was
that was a made up
alien
name.
name. All names are made up, but yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, thinking going forward,
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Yeah. Is
I
that what you
just-
said?
No.
I don't know. Ooh. Okay.
Again, I didn't think I was right, but I got her on the right track.
Yeah. But going forward, we can probably we can see them expanding
Oh.
more of this.
But
Sorry. There's also one more that's not officially confirmed, but it's like kind of like
Mhm.
Which
basically
is?
Hawkeye getting his own show on Disney Plus.
oh yeah, no, I remember hearing about that for the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people are thinking that's the one where he might train a successor.
Yeah,
Right.
they're saying that's where.
Kate Bishop or his daughter.
Yeah, that arc.
Yeah, that's another thing. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because that's kind of where I was going. Is like the future of like passing on the mantle.
Mhm.
Having, if we had Hawkeye train a Kate Bishop or similar character to be new Hawkeye,
Mhm.
and then in the comics there's Ironheart, which is basically
What, Riri Williams or
Riri
whatever?
Williams,
Oh yeah, a real popular charter there.
either way.
I don't think they would do that.
They
Just-
okay. They just because it's not necessarily a popular character doesn't mean it's going to be popular for this franchise in the movies.
I'm just letting you know. Like, I don't think they're going to take risks with failures in their comics and their in their multi-billion-dollar movie franchise.
Ah.
Nobody liked her as Iron Man's like replacement for like the year it lasted. And I don't know anything about her. I don't know how she was written. I don't know anything about that. I know that it didn't land well.
Yeah.
And yeah. But I think the future of the franchise is just all the snapped victims. Like, obviously, the Guardians are going to continue on. They're a hugely successful franchise. Clearly, they've decided to attach Thor to
We're
that.
introducing the Eternals.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, we're definitely going to get new characters. The Eternals is going to be interesting. It's a big, it's their big gamble. And then, all the other, sequels and stuff.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a lot of sequels and stuff and movies starring existing characters in Phase 4. Strictly just because, ironically, they're riding on the highest high they've ever been, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
This is the easiest place for them to fail
Yeah.
that they've had since the beginning. And it's a huge gamble. Some of their most marketable stars have walked out of the franchise. Like Robert Downey Jr., he's done. Chris Evans, probably done. And I mean, where do you go from that and how do you keep that momentum
Yeah.
going? Those were the two characters that people most connected with in a lot of ways. They still can't make Hulk standalone movies because of legal situations. So he'll probably just keep popping up as supporting characters in movies. Thor is attached to the Guardians. That'll be great. I'm not worried about that at all. Yeah, Hawkeye having his own show is the only real way I can see that character really moving forward for much longer. Like he's kind of done his thing. He's had his arc, and I think it's over. Then yeah, like Wanda and Vision, like Vision's quote unquote dead. Wanda, she's not an unpopular character, but I don't think people cared that much about her. She had like a couple cool moments in these movies, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. But she's never like been given the opportunity to be center stage. And so she's like, oh yeah, that character. When it comes to both Bucky and Sam, neither of them have really been given a lot of opportunity to flex their like self. Like Sam got a decent supporting role in Winter Soldier, and he's got some fairly decent supporting roles in other movies of like varying success. But again, I like kind of like Cheyenne said, I don't think he's ever been quite as likable as he was in Winter Soldier. Poor Bucky is just kind of honestly been given the shaft. You like him, I think, just inherently based on Sebastian Stan's charisma, because like he is not himself for all of the Winter Soldier. You only get to know him for a short time. Like, I mean, he's in a fair amount of the first Captain America, but like he's not given much to do, honestly. And then like they montage the most of World War II in that movie anyway, and then he's just dropped off a fucking train. And so when he comes back, like in Civil War, it's probably his biggest role in like the modern day, but he's still like mind controlled for a decent chunk of it, and he's kind of pushed to the sideline in a lot. He is honestly the MacGuffin of that movie more than he's a real character in it. And so like you never see any time of him just being him doing things, because he's always like on the runner and hiding. And then in Infinity War, he's given almost nothing to do. He has a couple lines with Cap, and then he, shoots a gun. And then in this movie, he wasn't really given much to do. And so, like, where he really is not given a lot of time to shine.
Yeah. So, I mean, he will be given that time.
You think?
You would think, yeah.
Maybe not.
We'll see how that goes. It could go either way.
Yep. I could definitely see it going either way. But here's the thing. Neither of Cap's replacements are half as marketable as Chris Evans was. And so they're fighting an uphill battle in replacing him. You can't really replace Tony. He's kind of irreplaceable, and I don't think they'll try.
Yeah.
You have Spider-Man, who is definitely a cornerstone of the future of the franchise, but he's also owned by another studio.
Yeah.
So I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to double down on that too hard. Like they want to use him. Clearly, they're invested in making him likable, but Sony still has him, and they can only do so much. And I think part of their frustration with him as a character was like how they were stuck. Like That Far From Home trailer dropped, and it spoiled shit from this movie. It like as if you had any doubt, but you knew that the snap victims were coming back.
Yeah.
Because there's him, there's Happy, there's fucking Nick Fury. They're all like running around and like, oh well, clearly we win. And so I feel like that probably pissed Marvel off a bit too, but they didn't have control to like stop the trailer from getting out.
Yeah.
So what were they going to do? And so like, who do we have left as a future of our franchise? Not a lot of people. You have Doctor Strange, who is like, I think earned a shitload of fans from Infinity War more than his own movie. Because I liked him in Infinity War more than I liked him in Doctor Strange. I feel like he finally like came into his own in that, felt like the character from the comics that I knew. And so we got a big gamble on our hands, because who does Marvel have to move forward? They have the new characters they just got. They have the Fantastic Four, and they have the X-Men. And the X-Men have had a tumultuous past. That's a very inconsistent situation. And they're like, if they want to bring the X-Men in, they basically have to recast all of them.
Yeah.
And we just kind of went through a recasting of all the X-Men. And so we're going to have to go through that again. And they have to find a new way to use these characters and like a new team. And it's going to be weird. And we have the Fantastic Four, who
also originally had Chris Evans.
Yes.
As Human Torch.
That's true.
But
I loved him as Human Torch.
They have Doctor Doom, which can be a big thing.
Yes. But here's the thing with the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four are a storied like team in Marvel. Like they were the first family. They were some of the most popular Marvel comics when they were in their prime. But their movie adaptations have not been very well received. I don't hate the first two Fantastic Four movies, but like they're pretty silly and they're not great movies. And then the new one was just garbage.
I did not see that.
Fantastic?
Nope.
It's not good. You didn't miss much. It's so they're on an uphill battle introducing them. And those are like the big heroes that they got. And to be fair, it's a lot of heroes. But it's a wholly different dynamic, and it could work. But they're not, I think, in as strong a position as we think they are. Like they clearly just delivered the greatest opening weekend of all time. They're quite possibly the highest grossing movie of all time. And somehow after doing that, like their future is incredibly uncertain.
Yeah. And they have a lot of characters to do things with, but again, if it's not like they're not 100%, no one's 100% sure how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
So like fans and the studio alike, I'm sure, like what is going to happen? Is it going to be well received?
Who's going to be our new Iron Man? Who's going to be our new Captain America? And I'm not saying recasting those characters, but like characters taking those that similar function and role in the overall story.
Because they kind of hold together the craziness of all the other heroes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And will it even be like a single character, or is it going to be a team like Guardians or like something similar that's going to, because like Guardians, they're not going to get their own standalone movies. No. And having a single like character that's going to need to be a really like important and worthwhile character to have the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
I think another problem that they might have going forward is superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
Because so like for me, because I've watched these movies since they started, because my dad was a fan, so I've been watching since then. But even going into like Infinity War and this movie, I was eager to see what would happen, but I was also like, I need this to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So, and going forward, it's like so I'm invested in certain stories like Guardians and Spider-Man, but other than that, I don't know. Like it has to be something really interesting and good. Otherwise, I don't know. Like I have a lot of superhero fatigue. I don't even care about some other superhero movies coming out because I'm just like, I need something else right now.
Yeah.
Although the pause because they're not supposed to have, I think, any movies coming out next year. That might be good for them.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's entirely true. I think they do have like a movie date set for next year. There's rumors that that's going to be the Black Widow movie.
Wait, I thought we had a few coming out in 2020.
No, 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's when most of the sequels come out.
But I could have sworn they had a date set aside for 2020.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So the one so Black Widow, they said it's expected at the earliest 2020.
Well, because apparently they're going to start filming that in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if it was like 2021. It doesn't take them that long to like turn those movies around.
Mm-hmm. See, superhero fatigue, I have the answer. Just go back to high fantasy. Let's go Lord of the Rings. Come on. No? Okay.
I mean, the biggest show on TV right now is the
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
is a fantasy story.
But
like
it's not movies.
It's not cinema. High fantasy, really.
Yeah, it's like
mid fantasy.
With the White Walker, is
low fantasy evolving to mid fantasy.
Yeah, originally it was low fantasy.
Well, I guess 2020 is going to have the Disney Plus shows.
That's true, and that'll definitely.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that'll definitely hold us over for a while.
Yeah.
The thing about superhero fatigue, for the longest time, people have been talking about it. Like, oh, it's gonna hit us any day now. Like, this will be the movie that'll show that people don't want to see superheroes like anymore. That they're getting tired of superhero movies. Blah 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 blah. And again, you would think that this movie making like $350 million in one weekend, just in the United States alone, would kind of be proof that that's not true. I think it is true. I think it's not. I think the fact that we love these characters so much is what counteracting.
Despite the fact that they're superheroes?
Yes. Like, maybe not despite, but more or less like, regardless of them being superheroes.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
It's more just like, we love these characters. We've grown up with these characters. Like, they're a huge part of our lives. This is why we give a shit. The two biggest pillars of that are gone now.
Yeah.
I feel like trying to introduce new characters, it's going to be harder to care now.
Yeah. So do you think the 2010s, decade of the superhero?
Oh, 110%.
And then 2020, not going to be like...
Decade of the fantasy?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let's get back into it.
Decade of the new Westerns?
I'd be fine with that.
Well, that's what everybody says. These are going to go the way of the Western, right? Nothing better to replace them than a bunch of Westerns again. I do love a good Western, but... I am worried about the future of this franchise. I think that our best days might be behind us.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars?
Yeah.
Endgame is a bookend?
Yeah. Whether they mean it to be or not. And it was inevitable they had to do this. Like, this is like the conclusion of everything they'd built up till now, and now they're kind of like starting from scratch. And I think they need to prove to us in a weird way that like it's worth moving on with the same amount of love that we do, like for what we've had. And I'm not saying it's impossible. And God knows nobody ever thought this was possible. I just don't know. I don't know if I can care about a new group of characters as much as I cared about these last ones.
Yeah, you're right. I definitely agree.
And that's what I'm worried about.
And I think with Godzilla 2 coming out, it's gonna go the way of the monsters. Yeah,
monster movies.
Not another Godzilla movie.
That movie looks awesome.
It
Are you
looks
kidding me?
awesome,
There's
but,
too many
like,
monsters.
17 and counting.
Oh my god. Who's
Like,
king of them?
To be honest, I'm mainly it looks interesting, but I don't remember her name. What's her name?
Millie
11.
Bobby Brown.
Yes, thank you. Like, I'm
say
mainly
11.
interested. Yeah, I was gonna say 11. I'm mainly interested because she's there. Like,
and yelling a lot.
yeah, I'm like,
That's it.
sure, let's do this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see what the future holds for Marvel, DC. I
People
don't
like
think
Shazam.
Well, Shazam actually was really good.
People liked Aquaman.
I like
But-
Wonder Woman.
It is like on an upwards curve at this point. After
There's nowhere to go but up.
yeah, that's the point. Yeah, there's nowhere to go but up after Suicide Squad and like Batman v Superman, Justice League.
That's why we have the Suicide Squad coming.
Yep. And we'll see if that breathes any new life. I say, any more life into the superhero genre. I doubt it.
I doubt it too, because here's the deal about the Suicide Squad. The movie's going to be awesome. It's because it's going to feel like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Because it's James Gunn.
So while I'm going to like that movie, I don't think it's going to do anything new. I think it's just going to be a good version of what we should have gotten the first time.
Yeah. Oh, poor Zack Snyder.
I mean, that wasn't Zack Snyder that made.
That's true.
Suicide
I don't know why.
Squad.
I was thinking of the other one. Batman v Superman.
I mean, I also feel for him, but like at the same time, he made the movie he wanted to make.
Wasn't a good movie.
Yeah, not really. No.
No.
I feel bad for him about Justice League.
Yeah, I didn't see it, so I can't say.
I did not hate Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League wasn't bad.
That's my hot take. A lot of people shit on that movie. I think it's actually not bad. It's pretty good. It's not a good movie.
I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
but
Mustache.
So,
That's all I know about that movie.
that didn't bother me as much as I thought it would.
it bothered me a lot.
I stopped looking at Superman. I don't like Superman though. So
One last thing I want to propose before we end, though, is the A-Team. With that setup with all the females and the Avenger
I thought
females.
you meant the movie that.
Yeah,
No,
like
not the
you just want to
A-Team,
remake
no.
the
I
A-Team?
meant
Or
the
the
comics,
show.
the
There's a show
A-Team,
too, right?
starring
Yeah.
It
all
started
of
as a show.
Yeah.
starring all of the female, basically Avengers and all the female cast.
Okay, look.
That's a thing. It's not gonna be
Okay.
anything.
Yeah.
No, but
Here's-
it is a thing.
Here's the thing.
That'd be cool. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm glad you understand that. They could have their cool moment in the middle of this movie. I feel like it would feel like a lot of pandering.
Well, hey, Birds of Prey is gonna be a thing.
It feels a little bit like pandering.
But
But also they're like introducing so many of those characters in that movie together. It's not just like, and now we're going to have a movie. It's going to star Valkyrie and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Valkyrie and Gwyneth Paltrow
And Gamora and
Okoye
and
I guess.
Okoye. And just like,
Scarlet Witch.
it's like, stop.
Every
Just stop.
single female
Just
character.
stop. Why are none of the men here? I'm not saying they need to be. I'm just questioning, do you have
Where
a good
are
reason
they?
why they're not? Are they just like, yeah, we'll sit this one out. You ladies have a go at it. Or is it something
Isn't
really...
that how usually like how these teams form? Like,
It's just so, it feels so awkward. Or is it something ridiculous like, oh, somebody got their hands on the Infinity Gauntlet
Oh,
and they
you think-
snapped all the men out of existence?
yeah. Do you think the Defenders are gonna be a thing?
Mm,
Like Hulk with Doctor Strange.
You know the
and-
Defenders is already
Silver
a thing that
Surfer.
died
Well,
on the Netflix shows.
that's different. That's a different Defenders.
Do you really think they're going to run with another Defenders?
Well, I mean,
supposedly
they
in
have
the same
Silver Surfer
universe?
back. Silver Surfer, Hulk, Doctor Strange. I forget. I think it's the fourth one. I don't even know. That's all my.
I just want an Illuminati movie.
Oh, I mean, Iron Man's dead.
I know he is. That's the problem.
That is a problem.
It's a fairly major problem, but that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, because we have Doctor Stretcheroo. What's his name?
Dr. Stretcheroo.
That's what he is.
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic. Who's in the Illuminati?
Stretcheroo.
Isn't it Illuminati? Is Doctor Strange part of the Illuminati?
Yes.
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
Professor Xavier.
Dr. Stretcheroo. Professor Xavier, Iron Man.
Namor, who I don't know if anybody has the rights to him.
Oh, yeah. I think he's also in Defenders.
But I mean, the fact is, like, they have most of that, of the, well, they have most of their characters back, period.
Yeah. Just reboot it. Reboot the MCU. There we go.
People would be pissed.
Oh my god, all these new rights, like everyone. No, look, guys, it's everybody now.
We can do it right.
Yeah,
Everyone would
it's
be
what it
so
should have
upset.
been.
It's like, yeah, let's just recast Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and Black Widow and Hawkeye, and they've already
We're gonna
used
have
every actor.
She-Thor and She-Hulk.
They already used every actor in Hollywood already. What do you want from them? Who's the left?
George Clooney.
He'll be Batman.
Yeah, we Batman.
All right. Well, we could probably talk about this like ad infinitum, but
That was it. I didn't think that you were gonna go for the whole play-by-play.
I wanted to. I thought it was the best way to talk about the movie. Otherwise, yeah, I'm sorry. This took so long, and I apologize to everyone.
Thank you for sticking it out.
Yeah. I do love how, like, last week we kept apologizing for how long the episode was. It's not even our longest episode of the podcast. Like, episode 4 was longer, I think.
I mean, this one's like twice as long.
Oh, this one is our Endgame.
Are you kidding? Do you know what runtime we're at right now?
No, I don't.
Like 2:30.
2:40.
Oh,
Again, cutting 10 minutes out of that. I was right.
all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed our pandering.
This is some pandering. Meandering pandering.
Yeah, our opinions, because they are just that.
I mean, are they? Most of what I stated today were facts. It's a good movie. You should watch it. It's a pretty fucking crazy ride.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's no point because you basically just listen to the movie. Except we described it.
Exactly.
And we're dumb idiots.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't see it and you heard us, I feel bad.
Yeah,
for you.
I warned you.
No, they were warned.
Yeah, they were warned extensively.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that should about round out this episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the ZymCast. If you disagree with anything that we said, which you 100% probably do,
I stated
at least
facts.
one thing about our opinions they probably disagree with. I guarantee you. Tweet us at ZymMedia and tell us how we're wrong.
I dare you. I will fight back with all the force of the fucking Mjolnir myself.
Not of
Stormbreaker? No.
Stormbreaker's cooler.
Yeah.
It's Groot.
But Mjolnir's like, the old classic.
Yeah.
You don't get the power of Thor by holding Stormbreaker. You get it by holding Mjolnir.
It's cheap. Anyway, thank you for listening. Please don't bleach your ears out after listening to this.
What? I'm so glad we... Oh, look. I'm Kyle Grubb.
I'm Chase Matherly, and that's Cheyenne.
Bye.
And please don't bleach your ears out. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.